Chapter 12:14. The Light Clan was different from the other cultivation clans in the Northern Heaven. The cultivators of this clan would use their surnames first before their given names. Most of the members of this clan had names like Guang or Guang. This quasi-saint of the Light Clan was named after Shintu Guang. In the era of the Zido immortal domain, Shintu Guang was considered a somewhat famous figure. When he was young, he was also ranked in the top 800 of the immortal emperors under Zido. Unfortunately, time was merciless. His immortal lifespan had long been exhausted. Now, he could only linger on in the heaven-avoiding coffin like a cripple. This person was short and skinny like a skinny monkey. The long robe that was woven with light was shining with the pattern of an ancient ape praying to the sun. His appearance was unattractive. Due to the exhaustion of his chi and blood, his chi seemed lifeless. However, his eyes were full of vigor and they shone like the sun. Indistinctly, there was fire burning in his eyes. The moment Ning Fan made eye contact with this person, he felt a burning pain in his eyes. Even though this person was arrogant, he did have some capabilities after all. It's old ancestor Shintu. He has made his move. As Shintu Guang appeared, cheers immediately resounded in the territory of the Light Clan. Countless cultivators kowtowed to him. There were also tens of giants of the Light Clan who were dressed in yellow scarves. They were carrying a six-edged long hammer that was as large as a small mountain and walked out with difficulty. That long hammer was too damaged. It was unknown how many years it had been through. Its spiritual light was severely damaged. However, it was covered with blood rust and it still gave off a strong killing intent. It was a mid-grade innate magic treasure. Please forgive us, old ancestor. We have spent 300,000 years but we still can't completely repair the immortal shattering hammer. We can only barely restore 60% of its power. The group of yellow scarves apologized. It's all right. 60% of its power is enough to deal with a doomsday quasi-saint. Shintu Guang said arrogantly. He took a step forward and his body shone brightly. Within the light, he turned into his 100 zhang tall true body. He held the immortal shattering hammer in his hand and smashed it at Ning Fan. This immortal shattering hammer had the weight of 30 cultivation planets. When it smashed down, the entire starry sky shook violently. It was hard to imagine that Shintu Guang, who had exhausted all of his chi and blood, still had the strength to wield such a heavy weapon. Even though his chi and blood were exhausted, he was definitely not weaker than a first-grade immortal stone quasi-saint. In the face of this person's brute force attack, Ning Fan chose to evade it. However, the problem was that he had clearly dodged Shintu Guang's giant hammer attack. Yet, for some unknown reason, he was still sent flying. It was as if he was struck by 30 invisible cultivation stars at the same time. That kind of destructive power directly shattered his defense. Without revealing his true form, Ning Fan's physical body was directly destroyed. In an instant, the entire Light Clan was filled with cheers. Too strong. Shintu Patriarch only used one strike to kill the invading quasi-sage. This is the consequence of going against the Light Clan. This outsider demi-saint only has this much strength, and yet he dares to speak so arrogantly about stealing the treasures of the Light race? How laughable! Not all the Light Clan cultivators were cheering. Some were puzzled. How strange. Are quasi-sages that easy to kill? Even if Shintu Patriarch is very strong, he should not be able to kill his opponent in one strike. Shintu Guang narrowed his eyes. Of course, he did not think that Ning Fan could be killed so easily. When he saw Ning Fan's physical body exploding and turning into sawdust that filled the sky, his expression became slightly startled. He finally understood. It's actually the wood clone. When did this person use his clone? I didn't even notice it at all. Could it be that this person actually has the wood title or the wood lord position? Otherwise, it is impossible for me to not sense the chi of his clone. To his surprise, the broken sawdust in the air suddenly gathered together. In an instant, Ning Fan's body was reconstructed and he walked out from the flying sawdust. Of course, it only looked like his body was reconstructed. In reality, Ning Fan's true body was not broken at all. Thus, There was no need to talk about reconstructing it. At the moment when the giant hammer approached him, Ning Fan transformed into the body of the wood demon clone. His entire body hid inside the shell, using the body of the clone to resist the enemy's attack. The wood demon clone can actually be used in this way. This was also a combat technique that Ning Fan had figured out recently. Since he had the divine lattice of wood, it would really be a waste if he did not develop more wood techniques. I didn't expect your attainments in the wood element to be so high. It seems like I have underestimated you in the past. There are indeed good and bad among the Doomsday Quasi-Sages, but you are definitely one of the best among them. It's a pity that your opponent is me. When I was at my peak, I had also defeated some titled and Palm Sage Realm Quasi-Sages like you. Even though my strength has declined now, it won't be difficult for me to defeat you. You know nothing about the difference in strength between the ancient and current Quasi-Sages. Even though Shen Tu Guang was surprised by Ning Fan's wood element technique, he still refused to admit his mistake. You are the one who knows nothing. I'm not a Quasi-Sage. I'm just an immortal king. Ning Fan shook his head. When he was not strong enough, he would purposely pretend to have a profound cultivation base to deter his enemies. But when he was strong enough, he did not mind revealing his true cultivation base. There was no need for him to pretend anymore. What? You are an immortal king? An immortal king with 17,000 tribulation magic power. Shen Tu Guang's expression finally changed. A doomsday quasi-sage with superficial magic power was not enough to shock him even if he had cultivated to the Palm Sage realm. However, an immortal king with 17,000 tribulation magic power was really a little scary. He could already cultivate 17,000 tribulation magic power at the immortal king realm. If he becomes a quasi-sage, how strong would he be? Since when did such a monster appear in the Dharma ending era? Alright, I've already tested your strength. Next, I'm going to seriously challenge your sect. In just a short exchange of blows, Ning Fan had already tested Shen Tu Guang's strength. On the surface, his immortal smashing hammer looked like a hammer treasure. In reality, the light that the hammer gave off was where its attacks were. It was extremely difficult to dodge the attacks of this hammer. A casual hit from this hammer would be a heavy blow equivalent to 30 stars. Just a single immortal smashing hammer was already not easy to deal with. As a quasi-sage, Shen Tu Guang certainly had other means. Ning Fan reckoned that if he does not use his trump card, he would probably have to fight a tough battle in order to defeat this person. Then I'll use my trump card. He was here to challenge the sect. What he wanted was to end the battle as soon as possible and not drag it out slowly with his enemies. Ning Fan did not know what the tradition of the Two Right sect was. However, he remembered the tradition of the Black Devil sect. Before the Black Devil sect would challenge the sect, they would first smash the sect's gate 3 times to show off their prestige. In a daze, Ning Fan felt like he had returned to the snowstorm in 7 Apricot City, the rain world, and the scene when he first challenged the sect with Old Devil. The corners of his mouth curled into a warm smile. However, what he did was not warm at all. He directly summoned the Dao Mountain of the Ant Lord and smashed it at Shen Tu Guang. Don't worry. I will only smash it 3 times. I won't smash it more than once. Ning Fan's words did not contain any extra emotions. However, in Shen Tu Guang's ears, it was no different from a great mockery. I will only smash it 3 times. I won't smash it more than once. Do you think you can defeat me with just 3 moves? What an arrogant junior. He has the same demeanor as me in the past. Shen Tu Guang was so angry that he laughed. He had always been the one being arrogant. Since when did it become someone else's turn to be arrogant in front of him? I don't care if this brat is a heaven-defying immortal king or not. I don't care if this brat has a boundless future. Today, I will destroy all of this brat's future. Light of heaven and earth, listen to my command. Fuse into my hammer and smash this mountain. This Shen Tu Guang was really impressive. Even though he was not at the true Light Palm realm, he had barely touched the threshold of the Light Palm realm. He could actually gather the light of heaven and earth with a little bit of the Light Palm realm's power, greatly improving the power of the immortal shattering hammer. At this moment, The immortal shattering hammer seemed to have become even heavier. It had the destructive power of 40 stars. Shen Tu Guang's true body held the hammer. With a long roar, he soared into the sky and smashed the Dao mountain heavily. His true body was so majestic. The light around him was so dazzling. His quasi-saint chi was earth-shattering. His clansmen were looking at him with respect. He wanted to smash this mountain into pieces. He wanted to teach Ning Fan a lesson. He wanted to— Oh my God! Wait, why did my hammer break? Shen Tu Guang's face was filled with shock. When his immortal shattering hammer that weighed 40 stars hit the mountain, it was not Ning Fan's mountain that was broken but his immortal shattering hammer. The immortal shattering hammer was broken. Even if the hammer was damaged and decayed, it should not have broken so easily. That was a mid-grade innate magic treasure. It was not that the immortal shattering hammer was too fragile but Ning Fan's mountain was too hard. It was too heavy. After the Dao mountain smashed the immortal shattering hammer, it continued to smash Shen Tu Guang's body. Shen Tu Guang was in a mess. Shen Tu Guang nearly cursed out loud. He was just lightly smashed by the Dao mountain and blood spurted out from his mouth. He fell from the sky, looking like a defeated rooster. It was as if what was smashing him was not the mountain in front of him but hundreds or thousands of cultivation planets. It's too heavy. What kind of mountain is this? How can it be so heavy? The weight of 100 stars? The weight of 1,000 stars? This is not the weight of the material realm but the weight of the Dao. This is the motherfucking Dao mountain. This is the motherfucking Dao mountain of the sage. There is actually a second-step cultivator in this world who has mastered the suppressive technique of the sage Dao mountain. What kind of joke is this? Our old ancestor actually couldn't withstand a single blow from that mountain. The entire Light Clan fell into a dead silence. Everyone was so shocked that they could not speak. Their faith was shattered to pieces. It's fake. It's fake. I don't believe this is the sage Dao mountain. My senses must be wrong. While falling, Shen Tu Guang forcefully stabilized his body. He let out a furious roar and condensed the light in heaven and earth into a 1,000 zhang light dragon. He stepped on the light dragon and charged towards the Dao mountain in the sky again. Boom! It was the second time he collided with the Dao mountain. It was the second time he coughed out blood after being hit by the Dao mountain and fell from the sky. It's real. Shen Tu Guang was in despair. This motherfucker is really the sage Dao mountain. How could he possibly be a match for the sage Dao mountain? Boom! It was the sound of Shen Tu Guang landing heavily on the ground. Boom, 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 boom! That it was the sound of the Dao mountain of the Ant Lord falling on the land of the Light Clan, creating countless rifts on the land. The first time the Dao mountain fell, it created hundreds of intersecting giant rifts on the land of the Light Clan. The second time the Dao mountain fell, the number of rifts increased to thousands. The third time the Dao mountain fell, the entire land of the Light Clan was shattered into countless pieces. This was the land of the Light Clan after all. No one knew how many powerful protective formation lines there were in the Earth vein. Even a second-level quasi-saint of the Northern Heaven might not be able to destroy this land. However, the land of the Light Clan was still smashed into pieces by Ning Fan. Shen Tu Guang was completely powerless to stop all of this. Moreover, if it wasn't because Ning Fan showed mercy, his physical body would have been destroyed. One should know that his physical body and primordial spirit were already like a lamp that had run out of oil. They could not withstand too much damage. If his physical body is destroyed, it was only a matter of time before his primordial spirit perishes. Fellow Taoist, thank you for showing mercy. My Light Clan admits defeat. What do you want from our clan? My clan is willing to give it to you. Shen Tu Guang crawled out from the ruins and said bitterly. At the same time, a group of cultivators of the Light Clan also crawled out from the ruins. Each of them wore a despondent expression as if they had suffered a heavy blow. However, none of the cultivators of the Light Clan died from the impact. Clearly, Ning Fan had perfectly controlled the area where the Dao mountain would fall. Similarly, he had shown mercy. Shen Tu Guang finally decided to admit defeat. The more arrogant his words were just now, the more embarrassed he looked when he admitted defeat. However, he had no choice but to admit defeat. The main forces of the Light Clan were fighting in the Boundary River. Those who stayed in the land of the clan were all young people. They were the future of the Light Clan. If I don't admit defeat, am I going to let the enemy destroy the future of the Light Clan? Sigh. This young man came in a menacing manner. I wonder what he wants to snatch. As expected, this young man has his eyes on the traveling light secret scroll, right? Or perhaps, he came for the incomplete scroll of the ancient country's transaction formation that our clan keeps. Even though he admitted defeat, Shintu Guang still felt his heart ache when he thought that the precious treasure of his clan was going to be snatched away by Ning Fan. Seeing that Shintu Guang had admitted defeat, Ning Fan no longer attacked him. He casually gave the Ant Lord Dao Shan an order and the latter flew back to the profound Yin world. After that, he took out the list of materials that omniscient old man gave him and read the names carefully. I want 100 Yin light stones. 100 of them. Not a single one less. It was also Ning Fan's first time hearing about something like Yin light stones. It must be a precious immortal material in the true world. As expected, as soon as Shintu Guang heard that Ning Fan was here to snatch the Yin light stones, he was immediately stunned. Then, his face was filled with grief and indignation. He angrily pointed at Ning Fan's direction, as if he wanted to scold him but could not find the right words. Upon seeing that, Ning Fan frowned slightly. Is this Yin light stone really that important to the Light Clan? Otherwise, why would Shintu Guang be so angry? You said that you are here to snatch the Yin light stones. Shintu Guang finally opened his mouth. His tone was filled with anger. Just for a mere 100 Yin light stones, you smashed my Light Clan into pieces? Because Shintu Guang was too angry, his tone became a little sharp. Why didn't you say so earlier? Why didn't you say so earlier? If I knew that you just wanted the Yin light stones, let alone 100, even if it's 1,000 or 10,000, I would still give them to you. I would still give them to you. Just for that worthless thing, you actually destroyed the earth vein of our Light Clan that we had spent several generations to build. It's not worth it to destroy our clan's land. Shintu Guang lamented. Even if I had told you my purpose in coming here in advance, given your personality, I'm afraid you wouldn't just give it to me, right? As soon as you showed up, you already said that you want to capture me without asking for my name. Ning Fan said disapprovingly. Shintu Guang was speechless for a moment. Indeed, if he did not fight with Ning Fan, he would not know how strong he was. Even if Ning Fan was just a blade of grass, he would not give it to him. Why should the dignified Light Clan lower their head to an outsider? This was a matter of principle and dignity. In the end, Ning Fan obtained more than 100,000 Yin light stones from the Light Clan and returned with a full load. Shintu Guang watched Ning Fan leave. Only when Ning Fan was so far away that his spirit sense could no longer sense him did he let out a sigh of relief, confirming that Ning Fan had really left. Wait a minute. I seem to have forgotten something important. Who is this peerless expert who can even control the Dao Mountain of the Sage and destroy the land of the Light Clan? Sigh. I've been in seclusion for too long. I actually didn't know that such an outstanding person has appeared in the northern heaven. Does anyone know who he is? Shintu Guang asked his clansman with a slightly awkward expression. In reply to Old Ancestor's question, we also don't know who he is. All the cultivators of the Light Clan wore blank expressions. However, there were a few of them who knew Ning Fan. A few of them happened to watch the grand competition of the Black Devil sect and knew that Ning Fan was a cultivator of the Black Devil sect in the northern heaven. A few of them had seen Ning Fan and Old Ancestor Lei Zhe entering the Light Ancestor's Earth Abyss hand in hand when they were patrolling. As for the others, they knew about Ning Fan through the bounty notice issued by the Water Sect. Shintu Guang sorted out the information he received from various sources and finally had some basic information about Ning Fan. Black Devil Sect? Ning Fan? Challenging the sect? Smashing their mountain gate 3 times? I got it. His identity as a member of the Black Devil sect is just a disguise. He's actually a member of the Two Ways sect. No wonder. No wonder he acted so domineeringly and wanted to destroy the land of my clan just to snatch a light stone. However, he obviously has a sense of propriety even though he is domineering. From the beginning to the end, he did not kill anyone from my clan. This is exactly the style of the two-ways sect in the past. I'm afraid this person isn't a junior in the declining cultivation era but an old monster of the two-ways sect who has lived since ancient times until today just like me. However, why don't I remember that there's someone called Ning Fan among the famous old monsters of the two-ways sect? Sure enough, this name is just an alias. Or perhaps even his appearance is a disguise. The reason he purposely disguised himself is probably because this person is someone this old man was familiar with in the past. He was worried about his reputation when he robbed me, so he concealed himself. There's no mistake, it must be so. One more thing. What exactly is this person's cultivation base? Even though he is an immortal king, is it possible for an immortal king to be this powerful? Sure enough, he lied again. He isn't an immortal king at all. Even if this person isn't a second-level quasi-saint, he is definitely one of the strongest existences among the first-level quasi-saints. Trying to deceive me? No way. Since he's a member of the two-ways sect and he showed mercy to my clan, I can only let this go. Who asked my clan to owe the two-ways saint karma in the past? We can't possibly kill all of his disciples and descendants, right? Listen up, this matter ends here. No one is allowed to take revenge on this old monster who has changed his name to Ning Fan. This person can be rude but we can't be disrespectful. We must remember the kindness that the two-ways saint has shown us in the past. In the future, when this person enters the earth abyss of the light ancestor, all of you must treat him as a distinguished guest. Do you understand? Shen Tu Guang ordered the members of the Light clan with a solemn expression. Shen Tu Guang's words might sound nice, but if it wasn't because Ning Fan's Sage Dao Mountain was too powerful, he might not even care about the kindness that the two-ways saint had shown him. Understood. The members of the Light clan nodded incessantly. Take revenge on Ning Fan? Do they have the ability to do so? Do they have a death wish? Even Shen Tu old ancestor who did not know the cultivation base of a Sage Realm expert was beaten to a pitiful state? As for the bounty orders issued by the Water Sect, they were all torn apart by the cultivators of the Light clan. Do I already have the strength to challenge the secret races? Far away in the starry sky, Ning Fan suddenly stopped in his tracks and sighed. He had once challenged the dark race alone. However, that was just a flattering statement. He did not use his own strength to suppress the entire dark race. Moreover, he was just lucky to defeat Black Rope. This time, however, it was different. He easily defeated Shen Tu Guang and the entire Light clan. Alright, the main force of the Light clan's quasi-saint realm was actually not here. However, it was enough to prove that he now had the strength to challenge the secret races. Don't flatter yourself. You didn't use your own strength to suppress the Light clan at all. You used my Dao Mountain, alright? Besides, you don't even have the cultivation base to control my Dao Mountain. You just used flowery words to deceive the Dao Mountain. You coaxed her into obeying your every order. If you don't use the Dao Mountain, do you still have the ability to suppress the Light clan? Absolutely not. In his sea of consciousness, the Ant Lord kept making sarcastic remarks. No. Even if I don't use the Dao Mountain, I can still suppress the Light clan. I still have 3 Saint Lightning talismans that I haven't used yet. Ning Fan said with a smile. Damn it. Those lightning talismans also belong to me. If you have the guts, you can suppress the Light clan without using the lightning talismans. The Ant Lord said angrily. What do you mean by yours and mine's? Even you are my master's possession. Now that you have entered my master's sea of consciousness, you are his servant. You must remember your identity. This time, the person who spoke was another guest in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness, Ji. How dare you? How dare a mere dust immortal speak so arrogantly? I am a dignified Saint Realm expert. How dare you call me a servant? Even if I am a servant, I will only be Master Hongjuan's servant. The Ant Lord no longer cared about Ning Fan. Instead, she ran to fight Ji. This was the reason why she did not quarrel with Ning Fan recently. Recently, she was busy quarreling with Yin Ji. How would she have the time to care about Ning Fan? Today, she only mocked Ning Fan for a while because of a sudden impulse. Who would have thought that she would start quarreling with Yin Ji after just a few sentences? That's right. I am a dust immortal. However, I am proud. I am proud because I am a dust immortal who was enlightened by a drop of Brother Tier's tear. What about you? You are just an insignificant ant. You are not even as good as me. Yin Ji said proudly. The Brother Tear that she mentioned was naturally that faceless giant. Pumph. I am also an ant enlightened by Master Hongjun. I am also proud. I am also proud. My pride is 1,000 times greater than your dust scum. You should know that my master is not someone your Brother Tier can compare to. The Ant Lord argued. You are not allowed to speak ill of Brother Tier. He is 1,000 times stronger than your Master Hongjun. You are not allowed to speak ill of Master. He is 100 million times stronger than your Brother Tier. Shut up. You are the one who should shut up. I will beat you to death. I will fight you to the death. Ning Fan silently blocked the noise in his sea of consciousness. If he hears these two women quarreling every day, how could he calm his mind and do other things? Speaking of which, is this a quarrel between adults? Why does it sound like two children comparing whose father is more powerful? It sounds boring and funny. Ning Fan shook his head and got rid of his distracting thoughts. He took out the list of materials and looked at it. Other than the Light Clan, there were no other quasi-Saint Realm forces on the list. The following materials were all very easy to get. The next force to kick is the Ocean Sand sect. Their sect master is Great Emperor Ocean Sand, who is at the 6th Tribulation Realm. What I want is 250 grams of extreme Een divine sand in the Ocean Sand sect of Northern Heaven. Today was the day when Great Emperor Ocean Sand would face his major heavenly tribulation. He was already very old, but his cultivation base was still stuck at the 6th tribulation of eternal times. He did not dare to advance to the 7th tribulation. He did not even have 5% confidence in breaking through the 7th tribulation of eternal times. If he forcefully breaks through, he would definitely die. However, Great Emperor Ocean Sand also did not have much confidence in passing the major heavenly tribulation this time. He only had a 30% chance of success, while the remaining 70% would still result in death. The entire Ocean Sand sect was filled with a tense atmosphere. No one knew whether their sect master would succeed or not this time. In the dark, there were a few great sovereigns of the Northern Heaven who were staring at the Ocean Sand sect. If Great Emperor Ocean Sand dies in the heavenly tribulation, the status of the Ocean Sand sect would certainly plummet and fall out of the range of immortal emperor forces. By then, there would be countless great sovereigns of the entire Northern Heaven who would divide the Ocean Sand sect. Why? Why doesn't the sect master pay the price and ask someone to help him pass the tribulation? Wouldn't the success rate be higher that way? At this moment, somewhere in the Ocean Sand sect, a new disciple of the sect asked in confusion. You're a newcomer, so you might not know this. In fact, the sect master was already having trouble passing the major heavenly tribulations in the past few times. All his savings had already been used up. That was why he asked for help and luckily passed the previous few major heavenly tribulations. However, this time, the sect master doesn't have any extra treasures to ask for help. The sect master has gone through the major heavenly tribulations too many times, and his strength is already at the final tribulation realm. Without enough compensation, which great sovereign would want to take this risk? Another disciple of the Ocean Sand sect answered. But I heard that true Lord Fuzai has said that he is willing to help without any compensation. Why doesn't the sect master agree? That's true Lord Fuzai we're talking about, one of the few great sovereigns of the Dharma ending era. With his help, even if it's the final tribulation, it would be easy to pass. Are you stupid? How dare you believe true Lord Fuzai's words? Haven't you heard that 10 million years ago, there was also a great sovereign of the northern sky who was facing a difficult tribulation? That person asked true Lord Fuzai for help, but when the tribulation came, his primordial spirit was devoured by true Lord Fuzai and he died a pitiful death. Great sovereigns are afraid of karma and won't easily step into the mortal world. If they step into the mortal world, they must have some ulterior motives. It's impossible for them to be selfless. True Lord Fuzé is so untrustworthy. How can he be like this? Doesn't the Four Meridians sect care about this matter? Trustworthy? If he cared about trustworthiness, True Lord Fuzé wouldn't be able to cultivate to his current realm. As for the Four Meridians sect, why would they accuse a great sovereign of a dead immortal sovereign for no reason? Shoo, that's a great sovereign of the quasi-sovereigns. He's not someone we can criticize. Let's stop here. Be careful not to bring trouble to the Ocean Sand sect. Yes. We shouldn't talk about it anymore. The two disciples were about to return to their rooms to rest. Suddenly, they saw a black chi rushing towards the starry sky. Their expressions immediately changed. It wasn't just these two disciples. At this moment, the entire Ocean Sand sect was in shock. Not good. Our sect master's final tribulation is here. The timing isn't right. It's a few hours too early. That's the problem. Our sect master can no longer control the timing of the final tribulation. I'm afraid we won't even have a 30% chance of success this time. What should we do? If something happens to our sect master, our Ocean Sand sect will definitely decline. Shut your crow's mouth. Our sect master will be fine. Our sect master will definitely be fine. At this moment, countless elders of the Ocean Sand sect knelt on the ground, sincerely praying for the Ocean Sand Emperor. Their cultivation level was too low and they couldn't enter the tribulation to help. They could only use this method to pray for the heavens to open their eyes and save their sect master. Everyone in the Ocean Sand sect had a glimmer of hope in their eyes, hoping for a miracle to happen. Only the Ocean Sand Emperor himself was filled with despair and death chi. 20%? No, not even 15%. Am I really going to die this time? I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Boom. A black lightning bolt as thick as a bowl suddenly struck down, aiming at the Ocean Sand Emperor's head. There was no time to despair. The Ocean Sand Emperor understood that he had to calm down and focus on the tribulation to increase his chances of survival. Below the 1,000 layers of tribulation clouds, the Ocean Sand Emperor set off monstrous waves, swearing to fight against the heavens again. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A portal suddenly opened between the 1,000 layers of tribulation clouds. Someone had suddenly entered the tribulation. Seeing this, the Ocean Sand Emperor's face turned ashen. If someone else entered the tribulation, it would cause the power of the tribulation to increase greatly. As expected, because of the sudden appearance of this portal, the power of the Ocean Sand Emperor's tribulation had more than doubled. It was originally unlikely for him to successfully pass the tribulation. Now he was definitely going to die. My life is over, my life is over. It must be my enemy who wanted to harm me and deliberately sent living beings into my tribulation. I can't accept this, I can't accept this. Who is it? Who is the one who wants to harm me? The Ocean Sand Emperor cried out in anger. I'm sorry, I didn't expect fellow Taoists to be in the middle of the tribulation and disturb you. Actually, I'm here to destroy your sect. These heavenly tribulations are really annoying. Forget it. We'll talk about destroying your sect later. It's just a mere tribulation lightning. Why don't you disperse it for me? Ning Fan activated his magic power. The magic power of the 17,000 tribulations was like a raging storm, directly dispersing the 1,000 layers of tribulation clouds of the Ocean Sand Emperor. The Ocean Sand Emperor was so shocked that he could not close his mouth. That was his final tribulation. However, it was directly dispersed by the magic power of the person who came. What a vast amount of magic power! This amount of magic power definitely belonged to a quasi-saint. Moreover, it was not the magic power that ordinary quasi-saints could possess. The person who came was actually an expert among the first-level quasi-saints. Master, these tribulation lightning are all final tribulation lightning. Can you feed them to the Tao destruction lightning nascent soul? It'll be a waste to disperse them for nothing. Black Devil's request suddenly appeared in Ning Fan's mind. Sure. Then, Ning Fan did another shocking thing. He summoned the Tao Destruction Lightning Nascent Soul and devoured the scattered Tribulation Lightning power. The Ocean Sand Emperor rubbed his eyes in disbelief. That was the Tao Destruction Lightning Nascent Soul, a first-class existence among the souls of the heavenly Tao. Why would it obey a cultivator's words like a servant? Even a quasi-saint would not be able to make the Tao Destruction Lightning Nascent Soul yield to him. This was too fake. It was not real at all. Thank you, Senior, for helping me transcend my tribulation. I will never forget your great kindness. If Senior has any request, I will definitely obey it. After all, the Ocean Sand Emperor was an old man who had lived for countless years. Even though he was surprised by the capabilities of the person who came, he would not forget his manners. The tens of thousands of disciples of the Ocean Sand sect knelt down and thanked Ning Fan profusely. The miracle they prayed for had happened. Ning Fan is a good person. He's the benefactor who saved the entire Ocean Sand sect. Now, it was Ning Fan's turn to feel awkward. He came to destroy the sect, alright. How did he accidentally become the benefactor of the entire Ocean Sand sect? Under such an atmosphere, how was he going to snatch the treasures? One should never hit a smiling person, alright? I really didn't come to help you. Ning Fan wanted to explain. Even though in such an atmosphere, the other party would probably be willing to give him the items he wanted even if he asked directly, it would not be in line with the tradition of the Two Forms sect. If the old devil finds out about it, he would definitely be angry. Senior, you're really great when you don't expect to be repaid for your kindness. The Ocean Sand Emperor shed tears of gratitude. The entire Ocean Sand sect was also moved to tears. But I don't have any reason to help you. Ning Fan felt even more troubled. That's right. Senior obviously doesn't have any reason to help me. Why do you want to help me transcend my tribulation? The Ocean Sand Emperor was stunned. Then, he slapped his white-haired forehead and understood everything. He looked at Ning Fan's face in disbelief. He only looked at Ning Fan's face. He could not recognize Ning Fan's appearance. However, why did he find Ning Fan's eyes so familiar? Plop! At this time, the Ocean Sand Emperor directly knelt down in front of Ning Fan. Senior Zhao Jian. It's you. I can't be wrong. It's you. You saved me once in the desolate mountain. Today, you actually saved me again. I've been reborn twice. What did I do to deserve such kindness from Senior? Reason? No need. It's because you're Senior Zhao Jian. Because you're the benevolent and righteous Senior Zhao Jian. As long as your heart is kind, you can sacrifice yourself to save others. You never need a reason to save others. Your nobility makes us cultivators blush with shame. It turned out that the Ocean Sand Emperor had participated in the battle in the desolate mountain and was once saved by Ning Fan, who was possessed by the eyeball monster. He really could not think of a reason why an expert like Ning Fan would save him. Thus, he came up with a reason by chance. What was even more coincidental was that he actually guessed it correctly. Ning Fan was really Zhao Jian. What he said directly exposed Ning Fan's identity that he had been hiding for many years. Ning Fan was speechless. How could he not be speechless? All of the Ocean Sand Emperor's reasoning and logic were wrong. However, he was right in the end. There was actually such a thing in this world. Could it be that Senior isn't old ancestor Zhao Jian? Could it be that I've guessed wrongly? The Ocean Sand Emperor was actually not very sure. When he saw Ning Fan hesitate, he immediately knew that things were not going well. It would be too impolite of him to guess Ning Fan's identity wrongly. Ning Fan sighed. He could keep Zhao Jian's identity a secret. However, if the Ocean Sand Emperor recognizes him, he would not bother to lie. Currently, he already had enough strength to protect himself. Even if he reveals some of his secrets, he would not bring trouble to himself. You've guessed it right. The person who saved you in the desolate mountain is indeed me. No wonder I felt that you look familiar. It turns out that I've met you in the desolate mountain. It's really Senior Zhao Jian. Come, my children. Kowtow to Senior Zhao Jian. Our old ancestor has been relying on Senior Zhao Jian to survive until now. If one kowtow isn't enough, You have to kowtow 100 times or even 1,000 times. The Ocean Sand Emperor shed tears of gratitude again after hearing Ning Fan's words. The atmosphere in the Ocean Sand sect became even more harmonious. Ning Fan was even more reluctant to rob them. It was extremely awkward in a dark place. A few immortal emperors who wanted to plot against the Ocean Sand sect were so frightened that they could not speak a word. I'm not wrong. It's fine if he can destroy the heavenly tribulation with just a raise of his hand. What's more important is that he can actually control the Tao extermination lightning nascent soul, which is the soul of the heavenly Tao. How can someone who isn't a great cultivator from the ancient times do that? 17,000 tribulations certainly isn't the limit of his magic power. He only used a small amount of magic power to destroy the heavenly tribulation here. He's a great cultivator from the ancient times. I didn't expect the Ocean Sand sect to be acquainted with Zhao Jian, a great cultivator from the ancient times. The world actually doesn't know about such important information. It's laughable that we are still acting recklessly and still want to plot against the Ocean Sand sect. Although that Zhao Jian is ignoring us now, he will certainly come to us one by one to punish us later. When that time comes, our sect will certainly be annihilated. Leave now. Come and apologize to Senior Zhao Jian with gifts. Otherwise, our sect will surely be annihilated. On this day, news after news once again shocked the entire ancient circle of the northern heaven. Shocking! Zhao Jian, a great cultivator from the ancient times, suddenly appeared in the Ocean Sand sect. He selflessly saved people without asking for anything in return. Shocking! A great cultivator destroyed the heavenly tribulation with just a lift of his hand. Who can compete with him? Shocking! The last pure land of the cultivation world. I, Zhao Jian, am the only one who does good every day. Shocking! Even the Tao Destruction Lightning Infant would shed tears when it heard this. It was touched and thus recognized its master. Those immortal emperors of the northern heaven who had been saved by Zhao Jian could no longer sit still. Nearly 100 immortal emperors, immortal kings and immortal venerables rushed to the Ocean Sand sect with gifts. They wanted to pay their respects to the legendary great cultivator from the ancient times. Last time, Ning Fan left the Pure Yang sect after visiting it, causing many people who wanted to pay their respects to the great cultivator to return empty-handed. This time, however, it was different. Ning Fan was forcefully made to stay by the Ocean Sand Emperor. He must invite Ning Fan to a banquet that lasted for 10 days. Now, all those who wanted to pay their respects to Ning Fan went straight to the Ocean Sand sect. What happened to the sect that I promised? How am I supposed to do it now? Now, every member of the Ocean Sand sect kneels on the ground and thanks me profusely when they see me. I can't do it? Ning Fan really did not know whether to laugh or cry. He had already explained to the Ocean Sand Emperor 100 times that he was not a good person. However, the Ocean Sand Emperor did not believe him. Chapter 12:15. The kindness of a drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring, not to mention the great kindness of saving his life twice. Even though Ocean Sand Great Emperor was not a kind person, he was not an ungrateful person after all. He was willing to use all of his life savings to repay Ning Fan's kindness of saving his life. He wanted to use the best sea wine and the fattest spiritual fish in the Ocean Sand sect to entertain Ning Fan for 10 days. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not have the time to stay in the Ocean Sand sect for long. He was destined not to participate in the banquet for 10 days. Facing the hospitable Ocean Sand sect, Ning Fan really felt a sense of helplessness. However, even though he felt helpless, he must kick this sect. No matter how grateful and respectful they were, he must harden his heart and kick this Ocean Sand sect once. There was no other way. This matter was not only related to the tradition of the Black Devil sect but also the life of the omniscient old man. One should know that the omniscient old man had pressed down the seal of an oath for this absurd matter. If Ning Fan did not kick all the sects on the list of materials one by one and obtain the items on the list through trickery, only God knows whether the omniscient old man would pay a heavy price for the oath. After weighing the two options, Ning Fan could only apologize to the Ocean Sand sect. He must kick this sect. However, there were many ways to trample on a sect. For enemies, he would kick them hard. For people like the Ocean Sand Great Emperor who had no enmity with him, he could kick them a little more gently. He would not smash the entire Ocean Sand sect into a state of ruin like the Light Clan. I am really not the good person you said. I will say it for the last time. I am not here to save you. I am here to kick a sect. Ning Fan hid his helpless smile and pretended to be cold. Kick a sect? Senior has said this for 800 times. However, this junior knows that Senior is just joking with me. Senior is really humorous. As soon as he finished speaking, Ocean Sand Great Emperor turned around and said to his disciples, "Children, Senior is telling us a joke to make us happy. Let's laugh together. Whoever doesn't laugh is not giving face to Senior and not giving face to me." Sha Xianglong. Seventh brother Lu, why don't you laugh? Are you looking down on Senior's jokes? You are asking for a beating. And you, Su Sifeng, I know that you are practicing the Zen of crying. Once you laugh, you will break through 10,000 years of bitter cultivation. But even so, you have to laugh. You have to give face to Senior. You can't embarrass Senior. Along with the Sea Sand Emperor's order, the entire Sea Sand sect suddenly turned into a sea of laughter, even though most of the cultivators felt that Ning Fan's joke was not funny. Forget it, I don't want to explain anymore. Ning Fan waved his hand, stopping the banquet. He didn't want to waste any more words with Sea Sand Emperor. He had to harden his heart and finish his business quickly. He didn't want to be forced to stay here for some banquet. He leaped into the air and stood high in the starry sky. His cold eyes looked down at the Sea Sand School below him. A vast amount of spiritual power swept out and a murderous aura locked down the entire Sea Sand School. Alright, that cold gaze was all an act. Even if this matter was related to the life of omniscient old man, with Ning Fan's character, he would not really be able to treat everyone in the Sea Sand sect coldly. Respect for a foot, he would return 10 feet. The entire Ocean Sand sect worshipped him as if he was their ancestor. This time, he was the one who owed the Ocean Sand sect. Forget it, forget it. After saving Senior Omniscient, I will make it up to the Sea Sand sect in the future. Dan Fragmentation Cauldron, fall for me. Because he didn't really want to destroy the Sea Sand sect, Ning Fan did not use a heaven-defying item like the Ant Lord's Dao Mountain. He only used the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron, which was not that powerful. The Dan Fragmentation Cauldron was Old Monster's magical treasure. It had already been refined by Ning Fan's medicine soul and merged with it. At this moment, the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron he summoned was naturally not a real thing. It was an illusory medicine soul that emitted golden light. Using a 9th Revolution Golden Grade medicine soul to destroy an immortal Emperor sect would cause almost no damage. Only then could Ning Fan feel less ashamed. The surface of the medicine soul of all gold core pill masters would be coated with a layer of gold. Using a medicine soul to form a cauldron, the cauldron would naturally be coated with gold. However, this was not the true color of Ning Fan's medicine soul. If one looked carefully, they would discover that there were actually 5 colors hidden under the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron. Those 5 colors were the influence of the 5-colored medicine soul. There were also many illusory butterflies floating on the cauldron. Those butterflies were the form of Ning Fan's medicine soul. Following Ning Fan's order, the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron fell towards a certain place in the Sea Sand School where there was no one. Seniority, you really want to destroy the school. Great Emperor Sea Sand's expression changed. At this moment, everyone in the Sea Sand School finally believed Ning Fan's intention. But so what? Great Emperor Sea Sand regained his warm smile very quickly. He did not care whether Ning Fan really wanted to destroy the school or not. He only cared about one thing, and that was that Ning Fan had indeed saved his life twice. He firmly believed that Ning Fan did not have any malicious intentions towards him and the Sea Sand School. If he had any malicious intentions with Ning Fan's unfathomable cultivation base, it would be as easy as flipping his hand to destroy the Sea Sand School. Why would he waste so much time talking nonsense with him? Why would he use a cauldron that was not that powerful to destroy the school where there was no one? It was obvious that he was just smashing it for fun. For fun? That's right. Why didn't I think of this? Great Emperor Sand instantly blamed himself and sighed towards the sky. So that's how it is. That's how it is. I originally thought that Senior Zhao Jian's hobby is to tell boring jokes. That's why he strictly ordered his disciples to laugh along. Unexpectedly, Senior's hobby is not that at all. His true hobby is to destroy the school for fun. Destroying the school as a hobby is certainly a little weird. However, it's not like I haven't seen old monsters with weirder hobbies. This is not surprising at all. The one who is wrong is not Senior. It's me. It's me. I said that I wanted to thank Senior and invite Senior to a banquet. However, I didn't even find out Senior's hobby in advance and hastily arranged the banquet. It's no wonder that Senior is not interested in the banquet for 10 days. If I knew that Senior wanted to destroy the school, why would Senior need to do it personally? Naturally, there will be servants to do it for you. As long as I can liven things up for Senior, a mere school is nothing. In ancient times, in order to win a beauty's smile, they did not hesitate to play with the warlords. Sha Xianglong, in order to win a smile from Senior, what does it matter if I sacrifice a school? This analogy seems a little inappropriate. Forget it. It's not important. What's important is Senior. Senior. At this moment, Great Emperor Sand seemed to have really become Ning Fan's fanatic believer. Even if Ning Fan destroys the world, he would fill in the gaps and find a proper reason for Ning Fan. Children, why are you still in a daze? Quickly cheer for Senior. Beautiful. That cauldron smashed beautifully. Old Fifth Zhao, why are you still in a daze? Quickly comprehend the changes of the medicine soul in the cauldron. Aren't you at the critical moment of breaking through to the 9th Revolution Pill Master Realm? Senior Zhao Jian used a 9th Revolution Golden Grade medicine soul. If you can comprehend a thing or two from it, it will be of great benefit to you. Of course, don't forget to applaud. Do you understand? Qin Bian, I asked you to cheer for Senior. Why aren't you applauding? How dare you disobey my orders? They're alright. I've been in seclusion recently to wait for the tribulation. I forgot that your hands were chopped off by the immortal king of the alien race when you were exterminating the invasion of the alien race a few days ago. Your ability to speak was sealed. Now, you can't applaud or speak. But you can squeeze out a happy expression. Senior will only be happy when he sees that you are happy. Do you understand? Hurry up. Senior is going to smash the 3rd cauldron. Judging from Senior's action of withdrawing his strength, this will be the last one. Therefore, it is also the most crucial one. Everyone held their breaths and carefully comprehended the cauldron. Don't miss this cauldron. Senior is an ancient great cultivator. A casual strike of his contains a supreme Tao law. If you can comprehend half a trace of it, it will be a great fortune. What is going on? Why is there the roar of a cloud life beast below the mountain gate? A moment ago, Great Emperor Haisha was still shouting and encouraging his disciples to cheer for Ning Fan's action of destroying the sect. In the next moment, his expression suddenly changed to one of shock, and there was even a trace of fear on his face. The ground of the mountain gate that was smashed by Ning Fan's Dan fragmentation cauldron suddenly broke open. Tens of thousands of rays of cloud light leaked out from under the ground. Within the cloud light, there were continuous roars of beasts. Those were the roars of a cloud life beast. There was actually a cloud life beast hidden at the mountain gate that Ning Fan had smashed. Coincidentally, its original form was revealed by Ning Fan's cauldron and it had no choice but to reveal itself. As soon as they saw the cloud life beast, not only Great Emperor Haisha was shocked, everyone in the Sand sect was astonished. One should know that the cloud life beast was not a demon beast of the northern heaven. It was a strange beast that lived in the northern heaven's boundary river. It was one of the alien races in the northern heaven. The cloud life beast race was not the strongest race among the alien races in the northern heaven, but it was the race that was best at concealing secret techniques. Rumor has it that even if a young cloud life beast's cultivation base was not high, It could still hide from the detection of true immortals using its cloud light. Once an adult cloud life beast uses its cloud technique, it could prevent immortal emperors from detecting its presence. If its cloud technique reaches the perfection realm, even quasi-sages would find it difficult to detect its presence. Cloud life beasts were born scouts. Not only did the alien races invade the northern heaven through the ancient devil sect, they also secretly sent a large number of cloud life beasts to spy on the northern heaven. Great Emperor Hai-Sha did not expect that there would be a cloud life beast hidden in his own sect. No, this is not an ordinary cloud life beast. Judging from the number of cloud marks on its body, it is actually a cloud life beast that has attained grand completion in its cloud technique. Its strength is comparable to a sixth tribulation immortal emperor. There was actually an immortal emperor of an alien race lurking beside his bed. However, Great Emperor Hai-Sha did not notice it in advance. How could he not be shocked? One should know that he was undergoing the great heavenly tribulation just now. Ning Fan's arrival was just an accident. What if Ning Fan did not come? If Ning Fan did not come, he would not have much hope of successfully overcoming the heavenly tribulation. Even if he was lucky enough to succeed, this cloud life beast that was lurking here would probably take advantage of his weakened state to launch a sneak attack on him. So that's why. No wonder Senior Zhao Jian wanted to destroy my sect for no reason. It turns out that he didn't do it for fun. Instead, he wanted to destroy this cloud life beast. He wants to eliminate this enemy from my Sea Sand sect. What a warm-hearted person he is. Great Emperor Hai-Sha was extremely touched. The tens of thousands of disciples of the Sea Sand sect were also touched. They were ashamed. They were despicable. They actually mistakenly thought that Ning Fan was just having fun by destroying their sect. They used the heart of a villain to gauge the heart of a gentleman. What's going on? There is actually an immortal emperor of an alien race hiding here. I actually did not notice it in advance. This beast's concealment technique is really too heaven-defying. At this moment, Ning Fan felt both speechless and astonished. He really just wanted to destroy the sect. He really did not know that he would accidentally create an immortal emperor of an alien race by simply smashing the pill cauldron. He is really a bad person. However, looking at the expressions of the people of the Sea Sand sect, they obviously did not believe it. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. When did such a person appear in the northern heaven? This person can see through my cloud transformation technique. Could it be that he is really an ancient great cultivator like what Sea Sand Emperor said? Otherwise, how could he do this? In the sky filled with clouds, the cloud life beast's form suddenly changed. It turned from a beast into a half-beast half-human form and spoke human language. At this moment, this cloud life beast immortal emperor's face was filled with fear. It had not been 3 to 5 days since he hid in the Sea Sand sect. A few months ago, there was a beast tide near the Sea Sand sect. It was at that time that he took advantage of the beast tide and teleported to this place from the northern world river. His cloud technique had already reached the cloud transformation realm for millions of years. In his clan, he was one of the top 3 experts in cloud techniques. His Dao name was Cloud Freak. Occasionally, there would be some low-grade cloud life beasts who were discovered by others hiding in the northern heaven. However, no one had ever noticed the existence of Cloud Freak. Sea Sand Emperor even knew nothing about it. The purpose of sending low-grade cloud life beasts to the northern heaven was to gather information. However, a top-grade cloud life beast like Cloud Freak was different. His mission was not to gather information but to assassinate. Relying on his immortal Emperor Realm cultivation base and heaven-defying concealment technique, he would look for opportunities to assassinate the immortal Emperor of the Northern Heaven and weaken the overall strength of the Northern Heaven. Sea Sand Emperor was the first assassination target he looked for. According to his plan, if Sea Sand Emperor succeeds in overcoming the heavenly tribulation, he would take advantage of his weakness to launch a sneak attack. If he fails, it would naturally be easier. Unexpectedly, Ning Fan would suddenly appear and help Sea Sand Emperor overcome the great heavenly tribulation. Now, Cloud Freak's assassination plan was completely ruined. What made it worse was that Ning Fan had not left yet. He did not dare to act rashly as he was worried that he would cause a commotion when he leaves which would attract Ning Fan's attention. Thus, he simply continued to hide in the Sea Sand sect. Cloud Freak was deeply shocked by the profound magic power Ning Fan displayed when he destroyed the heavenly tribulation. However, he still did not believe that he was an ancient great cultivator. Why not? Because other than being good at concealment, the cloud life beasts were also good at reading people's faces and finding out their bone age. How could Cloud Freak not see through Ning Fan's bone age? This person's bone age was less than 200,000 years. How could he be an ancient great cultivator? Even though he was not an ancient great cultivator, his magic power of 17,000 tribulations could not be faked. This matter also made Cloud Freak speculate. In the end, he did not dare to act rashly. He firmly believed that as long as he hid patiently and did not take the initiative to expose himself, Ning Fan would definitely not be able to detect his existence. He could wait until Ning Fan leaves the Sea Sand sect and then secretly leave this place to find his next assassination target. However, Cloud Freak did not expect Ning Fan to be able to see through his cloud transformation technique. One had to know that the cloud manifestation art was something that not everyone could see through, even if it was an ancient grand cultivator. From Cloud Freak's point of view, since Ning Fan could see through his technique, how could he just be an ancient great cultivator? He might even be one of the most powerful ancient great cultivators. When did such a person appear in the northern heaven? I must run. I must send this person's information back to the northern border river. With such an expert in the northern heaven camp, it was definitely enough to affect the situation of the northern heaven. 8,000 Cloud and Moon. As soon as Cloud Freak appeared, he chanted an incantation and turned into a wisp of cloud light to escape. You can't run away. Ning Fan had killed so many foreign races in the eastern border river. How could he not see through Cloud Freak's identity? He was a cultivator of the eastern heaven. Strictly speaking, the war between the foreign races in the northern heaven had nothing to do with the cultivators of the eastern heaven. However, who asked him to have the intention to get involved in this matter? Now that he had bumped into this unlucky immortal emperor, there was no reason for him to let him go. Besides, he was also very interested in Cloud Freak's concealment technique. It was quite a heaven-defying concealment technique. Even he did not notice it at all. If he did not insist on destroying the sect, he definitely would not know that such a cloud life beast was hiding in this place. Even though Ning Fan did not have the ability to see through Cloud Freak's concealment technique, since he had already shown himself, he was definitely not his opponent. How much effort would it take to kill a sixth tribulation immortal emperor? It was not necessary. The shadow of a tree in Ning Fan's right eye floated. He activated his illusion technique and instantly pulled Cloud Freak into the illusory world of the immemorial rainy night. In the illusory world, a long time passed. In the real world, however, only an instant passed. In this extremely short period of time, Ning Fan easily killed a sixth tribulation immortal emperor in an instant under the dumbfounded expression of everyone including Sea Sand Emperor. To Ning Fan, killing an immortal emperor in an instant was not something praiseworthy. However, in the eyes of others, it was undoubtedly a shocking feat. What was an immortal emperor? Immortal emperors were the peak existences in the Age of Chaos. They were the dream of countless Vipralopa stage cultivators. However, this dream did not live for more than an instant in Ning Fan's hands. This blow was not small at all. If this matter were to spread, the entire northern heaven would probably be shaken again. The fall of an immortal emperor was definitely not a small matter. Is this the strength of an ancient great cultivator? He can even kill an immortal emperor with just a wave of his hand. The disciples of Sea Sand sect had different expressions. Some of them were shocked out of their wits. Some of them looked at Ning Fan with even more respect and admiration. Sea Sand Emperor was still fine. After all, he was a person who had experienced the great chaos in the desolate world. In the past, he could not even survive for a second in the hands of old ancestor Nemo. He had to rely on Ning Fan to save his life. Immortal emperors were supreme? He had long discarded that old idea. Thus, he was the first person to recover from the shock. Plop. Sea Sand Emperor knelt in front of Ning Fan again. Thank you, Senior, for eliminating a great enemy for my Sea Sand sect. This junior has no way to repay Senior's kindness. I only wish to worship Senior's Tower of Luck for the rest of my life and add some luck to Senior. Plop. Plop. More disciples of Sea Sand sect knelt in front of Ning Fan. If it wasn't for Ning Fan who got rid of the cloud monster, who knows what kind of massacre this immortal emperor of a foreign race would have caused in the Sea Sand sect. They knew how to be grateful. They knew how to repent. Before this, they had misunderstood that Ning Fan really wanted to destroy the sect. They were not human. They were not human. You don't have to thank me. This is just a misunderstanding. Forget it. I'm too lazy to explain. Anyway, you won't believe me. Just think whatever you want. The cauldron had fallen 3 times. The ceremony of destroying the sect has come to an end. Now, I'm going to rob something from you. I want 1/2 kilogram of divine Een sand. Are you going to give it to me or not? Ning Fan was too lazy to pretend to be cold and indifferent. Divine Een sand? Why would Senior want such a worthless thing? Sea Sand Emperor was stunned. Then, his eyes were filled with tears. He was even more touched. He understood it. He understood it again. Ning Fan had done a great favor for the Sea Sand sect. However, he only asked for 1/2 kilogram of sand in return. What he asked for was not the return itself but to cut off karma. He did not want to have anything to do with the Sea Sand sect. Was the karma of an ancient great cultivator so easy to owe? If they owed Ning Fan karma, who knows if the Sea Sand sect would be implicated by the heavens and be destroyed when Ning Fan gets involved in some kind of danger in the future? However, if they cut off the karma, it would be different. In the future, even if Ning Fan gets into trouble, the Sea Sand sect would not be implicated by the heavenly Tao. Senior is afraid that you will implicate us when you get into trouble in the future. That's why you took the initiative to ask for 1/2 kilogram of sand in order to protect our lives. Senior, what kind of kindness is this? You even took into consideration the karma in the future. What did this junior do to deserve Senior's care? This junior is ashamed. This junior is ashamed. Sea Sand Emperor was an old man with white hair. At this moment he was crying like a child. How many years had it been? He had never experienced the warmth of the human world. Other than his parents when he was a mortal, it had been too many years since he had experienced care and love. His inner heart had already been turned numb and selfish by the bloody sea of cultivation. However, at this moment, there was a trace of warmth. It was the warmth that Ning Fan gave him. It was a warmth that only humans could feel. Originally, he avoided breaking through the 7th eternal tribulation like a snake or a scorpion. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt a trace of fear. Perhaps it was because his current state of mind was close to the Tao. He actually felt that there was a slight chance of breaking through the 7th eternal tribulation in this life. Therefore, even the slight hope of breaking through the 7th eternal tribulation in this life was given by Ning Fan, wasn't it? Shouldn't he repay Ning Fan 100 or 1,000 times more? However, Ning Fan did not need his repayment. Ning Fan only wanted 1/2 kilogram of sand. What kind of noble character and unquestionable integrity was this? Why are you still crying? Could it be that this lunar divine sand is actually that precious to you? Ning Fan was a little troubled. Even though he cared about Senior Omniscient's life, he was not willing to cause too much harm to Sea Sand Emperor because of this matter. What should he do now? While he was still thinking of a solution, Sea Sand Emperor had already ordered people to bring over a few hundred carrying poles of the lunar divine sand. Ning Fan knew that he was thinking too much. The lunar divine sand was actually not that valuable. After all, Sea Sand Emperor could easily take out a few hundred carrying poles of it. I only need 1/2 kilogram of sand. Ning Fan signaled Sea Sand Emperor to take back the excess lunar divine sand. When Sea Sand Emperor saw that, he was even more touched. He insisted that Ning Fan take away all the sand. Otherwise, he would feel guilty about his Tao heart. Forget it. I'll just take all of them then. I don't want to leave a shadow in your Tao heart in the future and blame me for it. Senior obviously didn't want to take more, but for the sake of our feelings, you went against your conscience. What kind of noble character and unquestionable integrity is this? What kind of... Without waiting for Sea Sand Emperor to say more flattering words, Ning Fan had already left. If he still did not leave, he would really be tortured by Sea Sand Emperor and the others. What a bunch of fools. Talking to fools is really too tiring. However, he unexpectedly did not hate fools like them. It was probably because there were more and more fools gathering around him. Which sect should I kick next? Let me take a look. In the starry sky, Ning Fan paused for a moment. He took out the list of materials and looked at it. Then he continued his journey. Half a day later, there were old monsters of the northern heaven who rushed to the Sea Sand sect through various kinds of transdomain teleportation formations. They wanted to see the glory of the ancient great cultivator, Zhao Jian. Unfortunately, when they arrived, Ning Fan had already left. They did not have the chance to meet him. This was exactly what it meant when they said that they were not fated to meet each other. If that was the case, Ning Fan was actually fated to meet Sea Sand Emperor. Otherwise, how could he coincidentally encounter the other party's tribulation? It was absolutely impossible to say that there was no karma between them. Even if it was not the karma of this life, it could be the karma of the previous life. Even if it was not the karma of this life, it could also be the karma of other lives. The heavenly Tao was boundless. Karma was even more complicated. The more one thought that they understood, the more they did not understand. The more confused they felt, the closer they were to the root of the problem. Ning Fan thought that he was the kind of person who did not understand. Because he did not understand, he was too lazy to think deeply about it. Even if he did, it might not be correct. Perhaps it was because Ning Fan's reputation had spread across the entire northern heaven. His next action of kicking the sects was terrifyingly smooth. In the Void Thunder sect. As soon as Ning Fan arrived at the sect master of the Void Thunder sect was pleasantly surprised. He immediately exposed Ning Fan's purpose of visit. Are you Senior Zhao Jian? Sure enough. It's the unparalleled benevolent and righteous Senior Zhao Jian. Senior, are you here to kick the sect? The sect master of the Void Thunder sect asked with great joy. Ning Fan was puzzled. Why was the other party so happy when he came to kick the sect? Heaven has taken pity on me. Senior is actually willing to come to this junior's small immortal venerable sect to kick the sect. This junior is really fortunate. Then, can this junior make a small request before you kick the sect? The sect master of the Void Thunder sect fell to his knees with a thud. I'm here to kick the sect. I'm not here to help others. Ning Fan felt that the other party had misunderstood him. Yes. Senior is here to kick the sect. This junior understands. To be honest, this junior was once injured by the enemy's secret treasure. The remaining poison in my body is difficult to get rid of. Only a mighty immortal emperor can treat me. Even though it isn't life-threatening, I have to suffer the pain of having my soul poisoned every day. It's so painful that I want to die. Senior, please show mercy and use your power to save this junior. When the day comes, this junior is also willing to offer you the Tower of Luck, 10 carriages of heavenly jade and 100 pieces of green crystals as thanks. By the way, I haven't asked what Senior is here to snatch. If there's anything you need, this junior will also give it to you. As soon as the sect master of the Void Thunder sect finished speaking, he kept kowtowing. Obviously, even though he said that he understood, he actually did not understand it at all. However, who asked him to be so polite to Ning Fan? Ning Fan was someone who could be persuaded by reason but not cowed by force. Therefore, the development of the matter had completely gotten out of Ning Fan's control. While kicking the sect, Ning Fan helped the sect master of the Void Thunder sect get rid of the pain of having his soul poisoned. It was just a piece of cake for an immortal emperor. With his vast magic power, he helped the sect master in less than 100 breaths. After that, under the grateful voices of the tens of thousands of disciples of the Void Thunder sect, he casually smashed the Void Thunder sect 3 times. After that, he not only obtained the items he needed but also a large number of gifts as thanks. Sun Sect. As soon as Ningfan said that he wanted to kick a sect, the sect master of the Sun Sect immediately cried tears of joy. He knelt on the ground and begged Ningfan to help him complete the sacrificial ceremony. He wanted to pray to the heavens for a son to be the successor of the sect. What the hell? Why did he look for me when he wanted to have a son? However, it was just a piece of cake for him, and the other party even kowtowed to him 3 times and 9 times. Zhu Guangzong. As soon as he saw Ningfan arrive unexpectedly, the sect master of Zhu Guangzong knelt down and cried loudly, begging Ningfan to help him find the desolate grave of his ancestor. Alright. Ningfan's Tao of divination was not bad. His perception of the rain technique was also first-rate. It was not difficult for him to find a desolate grave in the vast northern heaven. However, the problem was, why did Sun Long Dianxue also come to find him? He was going to kick a sect. Half a month later, Ningfan finally finished kicking all the sects in the northern heaven. Unlike what he imagined, he did not have a peerless devil reputation. Instead, his reputation was spread far and wide. Of course, it was not Ningfan's name that was spread far and wide. Instead, it was the name of the ancient great cultivator, Zhao Jian. In the past, even though the name Zhao Jian was deeply worshipped by the immortal emperors of the northern heaven, it was just a flower in the mirror and the moon in the water. Not all of them knew about Zhao Jian's noble character and unquestionable integrity. However, this time, the entire northern heaven recognized Senior Zhao Jian's noble character. Whether it was the mortal planets or the cultivation planets, Ningfan's touching deeds were being spread everywhere. However, it turned out that there were more and more fanatical followers of Zhao Jian like the Sea Sand Emperor. They could not wait to spread Ningfan's deeds across the entire northern heaven. As a result, when Ningfan returned to the omniscient old man's side, his face was dark even though he had completed all the tasks. He did not care about his reputation, but he was disgusted by deceiving the world. Even if this kind of thing happened to him and it was beneficial to him, he still felt uncomfortable. Senior is called omniscient. Of course, there is nothing that you don't know. This junior originally thought that it was a crazy decision for you to ask me to go to the northern heaven to challenge the sections. That's why I was worried that I might endanger your life if things go wrong. Now, it seems like this was premeditated by you. You deliberately used this to trick me and make me famous in the world. Only now did this junior realize that the materials that senior required were all worthless things. With your family's wealth, even if you don't have all of these things, it's also impossible for you to lack them. Besides, there are many things that you don't need to challenge the sections. You can buy them in the slightly bigger markets and trading planets in the northern heaven. However, you just want me to go and challenge the sections. It's a waste of effort. Are you trying to trick this junior? As soon as Ningfan saw the omniscient old man, he said with a half-angry half-smile. He was so angry that he laughed. How could he not be angry after being tricked and deceived by others? However, the omniscient old man did not have any ill intentions. Thinking about it made him not know whether to laugh or cry. Silly junior brother, you finally got it right for once. Senior brother is really teasing you. The traditions of our Yin and Yang sect are not all good traditions. Protecting one's own is a good tradition. Bullying newcomers is a bad tradition. It's the master's mission to lead a disciple to challenge a sect. Bullying a junior brother is a senior brother's mission. Junior brother, you still have a lot to learn. When the omniscient old man saw that Ningfan was angry, he immediately became complacent. His expression was as infuriating as it could be. Obviously, his crazy behavior when he asked Ningfan to challenge the sect was just a disguise. Goodbye. Ningfan was too lazy to talk to the omniscient old man anymore. He put down the things, cupped his fists slightly and turned around to leave. This time, it was the omniscient old man's turn to be anxious. Even though it was fun to tease his junior brother, it would not be nice if he angered him and left. Junior brother, please wait. Senior brother is wrong. I won't dare to tease you anymore. Wait a minute. Why do you have the smell of the cloud life beast? Strange. Junior brother, please wait. Why are you walking further and further away? Junior brother. Seeing Ning Fan walking further and further away, the omniscient old man knew that he had gone too far this time. He had really angered Ning Fan. How could he not be angry? Ning Fan really treated the omniscient old man as his family. That was why he was worried about the omniscient old man's life. That was why he risked universal condemnation and went to the northern heaven to challenge a sect at the most inappropriate time. Challenge a sect? Would it benefit Ning Fan at all? For the sake of the omniscient old man, he was already mentally prepared to offend the entire northern heaven. In the end, he found out that everything was just a prank by the omniscient old man. It was fine if he was deceived by others, but being deceived by his family was the most unbearable thing. It was especially infuriating when the omniscient old man showed a complacent expression. If it wasn't for the fact that he could not defeat the omniscient old man, Ning Fan probably would have beaten this annoying old man up. What an annoying old man. Senior brother, huh? If I really have such an annoying senior brother, I'm afraid I'll have to fight with him all the time. It's strange. With my character, I won't be so angry even if I'm deceived by others. Even if I'm angry, I won't show it on my face. However, I actually lost my composure in front of Senior Omniscient. Instead of saying that I lost my composure, it's better to say that I'm at ease. I can do whatever I want without hiding my temper. Because we're family, it's fine for us to joke around and curse each other. After arguing, we can reconcile with each other. Senior brother, could it be that this person and I really have feelings of being in the same sect in one of our reincarnations? Ning Fan did not stop walking, but his heart felt strange. On the other side, when the omniscient old man saw that Ning Fan did not turn his head no matter how hard he shouted, he was really anxious and regretful. The price he paid for turning into his crane form and causing havoc in the 12th level of the Earth Abyss was not light. At this moment he actually coughed out blood and fell to the ground. Seeing that the omniscient old man was so anxious that he almost vomited blood, Ning Fan did not dare to make him feel anxious again. He immediately turned around and left. Seeing that Ning Fan was finally willing to return, the omniscient old man finally let out a sigh of relief. However, as he was busy suppressing his injuries, he could not talk to Ning Fan anymore. He sat cross-legged on the ground to treat his injuries while Ning Fan stood aside with a complicated expression, watching him treat his injuries. When he saw that the omniscient old man's injuries were stabilized, he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Junior brother, are you not angry anymore? After a long while, the omniscient old man's chi finally stabilized. Then, he asked carefully as if he had done something wrong. I don't dare to be angry anymore. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. He really did not know what to do with the omniscient old man. He had already forgotten about his pettiness. If he wanted to scheme against him, then so be it. After all, it was not like he would lose his skin or flesh. Since he made a fool of himself just now, he would just treat it as coaxing this old man. Junior brother, senior brother, you're wrong, but I still don't understand why you are so angry. You have never been so angry before, the omniscient old man said blankly. He seemed to have recalled the past, but at the same time, he did not. Forget it. It's just a small matter. I just don't like being deceived by people close to me. Perhaps to you, it's very normal for a senior brother to tease a junior brother because you have experienced too much and you are already used to it. But to me, it's the first time in my life that I was teased by someone close to me. Ning Fan sighed. Senior brother, huh? In fact, Ning Fan had also addressed a person as senior brother. No, to be exact, he addressed a sword as senior brother. According to the tradition of the Slaughter Palace, the Slaughter Emperors of each generation were all fellow disciples of the same sect. Therefore, Ning Fan once addressed the sacred Slaughter Heavenly Desolate Sword as his senior brother. What was the situation like at that time? Ning Fan remembered the kindness of the 7 generations of Slaughter Emperors. He had feelings for the Slaughter Palace and the sacred Slaughter Heavenly Desolate Sword as well. Thus, he was willing to address the other party as his eldest senior brother. However, even though Ning Fan addressed the sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword as his senior brother, he did not feel any sense of kinship in his heart. The two words senior brother were more of a formality. When the 7 generations of slaughter emperors were in trouble, the sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword, as the eldest senior brother, did not lend a hand. It was not because it was unwilling to do so. It was also because it had an important mission to protect the people of the Northern Dipper sect. When Ning Fan first offended the Dark Race and made all kinds of great enemies in the Eastern Heaven, the sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword also did not lend a hand. Of course, after Ning Fan became the 8th slaughter emperor, the sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword treated him quite well. It was even willing to help him train the 5 sword spirits. However, that was only within the limits of its ability. The sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword's kindness was indeed sincere. However, Ning Fan still felt that there was something missing. He could not explain it clearly. In the past, he did not know what was missing between him and the sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword. Only when he learned that the omniscient old man was so angry that he lost his mind to save him did he vaguely understand the true weight of the 2 words senior brother. If the omniscient old man was in the position of the sacred slaughter heavenly desolate sword, he would not care about the lives of the people of the Northern Dipper sect, the righteousness, himself and the survival of the Eastern Heaven when he saw that Ning Fan was in trouble. He would certainly kill his way into the Dark Race and the Eastern World River like a madman and slaughter all the people who wanted to harm him. He would be extremely bloody and cruel. He would do everything he could. When Ning Fan thought of that, he did not know why, but he felt an inexplicable sense of sadness. Junior brother, if your senior brother really knows his mistake, will you forgive me? The omniscient old man asked nervously. After that, he returned to being at a loss. He did not understand where this kind of nervousness came from. Silently, tears of regret fell from his eyes. He was even more confused. It's just a small matter. There's no need to forgive. Ning Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Why did this old man cry again? It's fine as long as junior brother is not angry anymore. Although the omniscient old man said that, his heart was filled with unspeakable regret. It was as if what he really wanted to hear from Ning Fan was not this sentence but true forgiveness. However, he did not know where this kind of emotion came from. He only knew one thing. That was, if he bullied his junior brother in the future, he must do it discreetly, so that Ning Fan wouldn't be able to detect it. Otherwise, if Ning Fan were to discover it again, he would have to repeatedly apologize and use the trick of injuring himself to gain Ning Fan's confidence. However, it turned out that the omniscient old man still did not understand what was wrong with a senior brother bullying a junior brother. A senior brother was born to bully a junior brother. In this world, only I can bully my junior brother. Other than me, no one else can. If you dare to bully my junior brother, I will kill your entire clan. But who is my junior brother? The omniscient old man felt a pain in his sea of consciousness. Then his eyes became dazed. When he looked at Ning Fan again, he did not recognize him anymore. Humph! Little friend clearly promised to let this old man experiment. But why did you leave without saying goodbye for half a month? Tell me, where have you been for the past half a month, and why have you come back? Wait a minute, who was the one who threw a pile of rubbish here? Een light stone, extreme een divine sand, desert west sunflower. Hey, little friend, can I trouble you to do me a favor? Can you help this old man throw away all these rubbish? If so, this old man will not blame you for leaving without saying goodbye. What do you think? The omniscient old man looked at Ning Fan with an expression of, I'm very generous to forgive you. Ning Fan's face instantly turned black. I won't take the blame for leaving without saying goodbye. This pile of rubbish is something that I risked universal condemnation to bring back for you. If you want to throw it away yourself. Chapter 12:16. Seeing that Ning Fan refused to help, omniscient old man had no choice but to do it himself. It took him quite a while to throw all the immortal materials into the waste pile. Although omniscient old man was happy to throw them away, he regretted it not long after. 1 hour later. Suddenly, omniscient old man regained part of his memory. When he saw the extreme divine sand and the other materials being thrown into the waste pile, he immediately became furious and cursed at the sky. Who is it? Who was the one who threw all of the immortal materials that my junior brother had painstakingly snatched back into the trash heap? Could it be Hong Jun again? Wait, why did I say, again? One should know that although the extreme divine sand and the other materials were not valuable, they were indispensable for his next experiment. Without a choice, omniscient old man spent another effort to pick out the immortal materials one by one. He carefully cleaned them and removed the impurities from them. While cleaning, he scolded Hong Jun for being despicable and shameless. When he finally cleaned all the immortal materials, omniscient old man's eyes became dazed again and he lost his memory again. After losing his memory, omniscient old man was displeased when he saw the pile of rubbish in front of him. Strange. I have already thrown these rubbish into the waste pile. Why are they still here? Which bastard who gave birth to a son without balls picked them up? Could it be Hong Jun? Forget it, I'll throw them again. Another half an hour passed. Who is it? Who threw these immortal materials into the waste pile for the second time? Wait, why did I say again? I have no choice but to pick them up and wash them again. I have no choice but to wash them and throw them away again. I have no choice but to pick them up and throw them away again. Just like that, omniscient old man tossed and turned the pile of immortal materials back and forth for 6 to 7 days. He was still tossing and throwing them away again and again. He was completely caught in an endless loop and was having a lot of fun. Ning Fan had already developed a certain degree of immunity towards omniscient old man's confusing behavior. Thus, he did not accompany omniscient old man to mess around blindly. He was a normal person and he had serious things to do. Previously, when Ning Fan destroyed the Ocean Sand sect, he accidentally killed an immortal Emperor Realm Cloud-born beast. In the illusory world of the ancient rainy night, he interrogated that immortal Emperor Realm Cloud-born beast for 100 years. Finally, he got what he wanted from it, the cloud concealment technique of the Cloud-born beast clan. The full name of this technique was Heaven Concealing Cloud Technique. It was the most powerful concealment technique that Ning Fan had ever obtained. How powerful was he? With Ning Fan's heaven-defying senses, even a first-level quasi-saint would not be able to hide under his nose. However, that cloud-born beast managed to do so with just the cultivation base of a 6th tribulation immortal emperor. Isn't this enough to explain the problem? A 6th tribulation immortal emperor who had mastered the cloud technique of the stage of transformation was able to hide from Ning Fan's senses. If Ning Fan also learns the realm of cloud technique, would he be able to deceive the senses of even saints? Of course, Ning Fan was interested in learning such a powerful concealment ability. If he had mastered the cloud technique earlier, when he was being chased by the Ant Lord in his dreams, he might have had a chance to hide and escape. With Ning Fan's comprehension ability, it only took him 6 to 7 days to comprehend the essence of the heaven concealing cloud technique. Unfortunately, this technique could not be learned just by comprehending it. In order to truly master it, he still needed to fulfill various harsh requirements. The first requirement was to find a place where ancient clouds filled the air and absorb enough cloud chi. Clouds were actually formed by rising water vapor. The water vapor would turn into clouds and the clouds would turn into rain. In other words, the essence of clouds was actually just a certain stage of rain. Clouds were the starting point of rain and also the final destination of rain. Rain was the end of clouds and also the beginning of clouds. The lifespan of clouds was as short as the life of rain. Of course, this short lifespan was not absolute. Not every drop of rain would return to the ocean. Therefore, not every cloud would turn into rain and dissipate. Since there was an everlasting rain in this world, there would certainly be clouds that would never disperse. What Ning Fan wanted to find was this kind of ancient clouds. The older the better. If he absorbed 1,000-years-old ancient cloud, he would need 3 million years to master the cloud technique. If he absorbed 10,000-years-old ancient cloud, he would only need 300,000 years to master the cloud technique. 100,000 years old ancient cloud, 3,000 years old ancient cloud and 300 years old ancient cloud. On one hand, Ning Fan wanted to learn the heaven-concealing cloud technique. On the other hand, the grand competition of the Lost World Palace was just around the corner. He did not have much time to waste on cultivating the cloud technique. Not to mention 300 years, he did not even have enough time to cultivate the heaven-concealing cloud technique. There are a lot of rare and precious immortal materials in Senior Omniscience Laboratory. I wonder if there are any ancient clouds that are old enough to help me master the cloud technique in a short time. Ning Fan wanted to ask Omniscient Old Man, but the latter was in a frenzy. How could he have the time to answer him? Little friend, you need ancient clouds? Then go to my Cloud Valley and take them yourself. You asked where the Cloud Valley is? Can't you just spread out your spirit sense and sense it a little? All right, don't disturb me from doing my proper business. After being interrupted by you, I don't even know whether I should throw these several hundred poles of extreme divine sand back to the waste pile or pick them up. Let me think about it. Don't disturb me anymore. Ning Fan left silently and went to look for Yun Gu. As for Omniscient Old Man, I'll leave him alone to have his fun. The Cloud Valley was none other than the place where the sludge monster's immortal cave was located. At this moment, the sludge monster was happily bathing in the misty world. Of course, she was not bathing in a mud body. Instead, she was bathing in her human body. Ever since the curse was lifted, she could freely switch between her human body and the mud body as she pleased. However, the problem was that she had not shown her human body in front of others for too many years. This led to a problem. Her sense of shame was overflowing. She did not have enough mental preparation. She did not dare to show her human body in front of others. It was too thin-skinned. It was also because of this reason that she still used her mud body to interact with Ning Fan even after the curse was lifted. Only when there were no outsiders around would she dare to truly release herself. She cupped her hands in the sea of clouds and poured the water vapor on her body. It's so comfortable, like a mischievous young girl, she gently raised her toes and kicked the clouds. Her fine black hair was covered with water vapor and scattered on her back. The sludge monster pointed her finger and the clouds condensed into a water mirror. She stared at her own perfect face in the water mirror with infatuation. Who is the most beautiful woman in the world? Phoenix Marsh. It's the Phoenix Marsh. Under the influence of the sludge monster's ability, the water mirror spoke unwillingly. However, it was not the mirror that was speaking. It was the ability that was speaking. The mirror suddenly let out an inexplicable laugh. No, it's not the mirror laughing. Ning Fan laughing. All of a sudden, the sludge monster was petrified. Wait. Didn't she seal all the entrances to the Cloud Valley? How did Ning Fan come in? Wait. Did Ning Fan see her human body? No. It's not as simple as seeing her human body. He saw everything. I'm not wearing any clothes. A woman's scream resounded throughout the Cloud Valley. Under Ning Fan's inexplicable gaze, the sludge monster hurriedly turned into a big lump of mud. She looked at Ning Fan with teary eyes and felt extremely wronged. You're cold and heartless. You peeped at me while I was bathing. Sob. If I tell you that I really didn't know that there would be people bathing in the clouds in this world, would you believe me? You've set up a restriction around this place to isolate the senses of spirit sense. I only found out about this after I entered this place. Ning Fan spoke nonsense with a serious expression. Actually, he knew everything. However, he just wanted to come in and have a look. It was not because he coveted the sludge monster's beauty. He was really curious about the appearance of the sludge monster. He really didn't expect that his little sludge monster was actually quite good-looking. What was more unexpected was that this lump of mud had such a narcissistic side when it was alone. Mirror. Who's the most beautiful? What an interesting lump of mud. It really pleased him. I don't care. Even if you're a hero, you have to take responsibility for seeing me bathing. The sludge monster said angrily. I have to take responsibility just because I'm bathing? All right. After I take responsibility for you, I can look at you openly. Ning Fan said with a smile. No way. I don't want you to take responsibility anymore. I'm going back on my words. The sludge monster was shocked when she heard what Ning Fan said. She would directly die of embarrassment if Ning Fan looked at her every day. She would literally die of embarrassment. I don't need to take responsibility? So I don't have to bear any consequences when I look at you bathing? All right then. I'll look at you again next time. Do. The sludge monster was so angry that her cheeks puffed up. Ning Fan had a lot of twisted logic. What should she do if she could not win against him in an argument? This silly mud monster is really fun. Ning Fan reached out his palm and patted the sludge monster's head. His first move was to touch her head. The sludge monster's breath stagnated. Her heart skipped a few hundred beats. The sludge monster's face turned as red as a monkey's butt. What should I do if my head is touched again? What should I do if I feel a little happy? She seemed to be happy and angry at the same time. Ning Fan, on the other hand, did not care about her anymore. Instead, he scanned the surrounding clouds and estimated the age of the ancient clouds. Not bad. Not bad at all. The ancient clouds here were at least 10 million years old. It was unknown how many of them were hundreds of millions of years old. There were even ancient clouds that were 1 billion years old and 10 billion years old. However, their numbers were a little less. With an ancient cloud of this age, he didn't have to spend much time at all to be able to master the concealed heaven cloud technique. He was really too lucky. After taking a deep breath of the cloud chi, Ning Fan immediately felt that his eyes and ears were clear. The smell of these ancient clouds was really too unique. It was like the growth rings of an old tree, the ruins of the world, and the faint fragrance of a young lady's skin. Ning Fan suddenly felt a little awkward. The growth rings of the old tree and the ruins were just his imagination. However, the fragrance of the young lady's skin was real. But the fragrance of the girl's skin was real. You can't breathe it in. You can't breathe it in. These clouds. These clouds are the bathwater that I used just now. The sludge monster also felt awkward. What should she do? How is Ning Fan breathing in the cloud chi? Ning Fan is obviously drinking her bathwater. It doesn't matter. I've drunk things that are even more shameful. Ning Fan seemed to have recalled some of the past between him and Bei Xiaoman. The awkwardness in his heart was instantly swept away and he gulped down the cloud chi. What bathwater? Why are you thinking so much about it? Ancient clouds are ancient clouds and nothing else. If this stinky lump of mud uses the spiritual chi of heaven and earth in the entire cultivation world to bathe, does that mean that every cultivator who absorbs the spiritual chi of heaven and earth is drinking her bathwater? Nonsense. As a result, under the eyes of the sludge monster, which was filled with embarrassment, delight, and astonishment, Ning Fan only used 6 hours to cultivate the hidden heaven cloud technique to the rudimentary level. At the moment when he mastered the entry level of the hidden heaven cloud technique, the patterns of the auspicious clouds around Ning Fan's body shone brightly as if they were resonating with the hidden heaven cloud technique. The patterns of the auspicious clouds were obtained when Ning Fan was hunting the immortal emperors of the Dragon Horse clan in the Eastern Realm River. It could turn into auspicious clouds to protect one's body and increase one's defense. However, because the amount of auspicious clouds Ning Fan obtained at that time was too little and its use was limited, he had forgotten about it as time went by. Now that he absorbed a large amount of the cloud chi, not only did he master the entry level of the hidden heaven cloud technique, but also the power of the auspicious clouds that he absorbed previously. Both of them were cloud techniques with the same origin. At this moment, they even seemed to resonate with each other inside Ning Fan's body. Suddenly, a bold idea popped up in Ning Fan's mind. Why must I cultivate the hidden heaven cloud technique of the Cloud Birth Beast clan? Can't I cultivate a more powerful cloud technique? The one that incorporates the defense of the auspicious clouds into it. What would happen if I incorporate the defense of the auspicious clouds into the hidden heaven cloud technique? This might be difficult for others, but with my second-level heavenly being realm Tao comprehension, it's quite possible for me to do it. It doesn't matter even if I fail, as it won't take much effort. However, if I succeed, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. Green light shone brightly in his eyes. It was the green light of the second-level heavenly being realm. At that moment, he fully activated his heavenly being realm. Within the sea of clouds, the illusory phenomenon of the heavenly being gate was formed. It was not just one heavenly being gate but two. Brother Hero is actually a second-level heavenly being realm cultivator. The sludge monster was greatly astonished. Under its astonishment, it even forgot about the shameful thing that happened just now. Only admiration was left in its eyes. When I look at the hidden heaven cloud technique, it looks like a circle. When I look at the auspicious cloud technique, it also looks like a circle. Ning Fan spoke in a language that the sludge monster could not understand. As he raised his hand, he actually drew the entire sea of clouds into two big circles. He even drew countless strange Tao marks under the two big circles. The meaning of those Tao marks was obscure and not something that the sludge monster could understand. The number of Tao marks increased. The further he drew, the more difficult it became to draw. When the number of Tao marks reached their limit and could no longer grow any further, Ning Fan suddenly clasped his hands together. Then, the two circular sea of clouds violently collided with each other. There was no sound that could destroy heaven and earth. Instead, there was only the fusion of the clouds. At this moment, another strange phenomenon appeared. On one side of the sea of clouds, there was a flickering hidden heaven cloud light, while on the other side, there was a 10,000 zhang tall auspicious cloud. However, as the two of them fused together, there was no clear boundary between the hidden heaven cloud light and the auspicious cloud. They truly became one. From then on, Ning Fan no longer had the hidden heaven cloud technique nor the auspicious cloud technique in his body. He did not have either of them, but he also had both of them. Did I succeed? The fusion of the clouds is just like two drops of rain falling together. Rain and clouds. So that's how it should be. That's how it should be. In the past, I was still lacking a little bit to complete half of the big circle of the rain palm position. Now, perhaps I can truly draw the semicircle of rain. It turns out that I don't need to use rain to draw the last stroke. Instead, I need to use clouds. Ning Fan flicked his finger and the sea of clouds between heaven and earth suddenly changed. They turned into dark clouds in the sky and then turned into a heavy downpour. It was the transformation of clouds into rain. The missing stroke was this matter. In the past, he only needed an opportunity to truly step into the rain palm position. Now, the opportunity had finally arrived. Condense. As Ning Fan gave his order, the rain in the sky suddenly condensed into a huge semicircle. That was the real semicircle of rain. At the moment when the semicircle truly condensed, Ning Fan's rain palm position had officially stepped into the mid-realm of the rain palm position. At the same time, he also saw the path that he needed to take to attain the grand completion realm of the rain palm position. From now on, if he wanted to improve the rain palm position, the key was not to cultivate the rain but to cultivate the clouds. When Ning Fan cultivated the clouds until they were as powerful as the rain, when the clouds and rain merged into one, he would be able to attain the grand completion realm of the rain palm position. Disperse. As Ning Fan gave his order, the semicircle of rain immediately shattered, turning into raindrops that filled the sky. The raindrops that filled the sky then turned back into clouds again. Then, they turned back into ancient clouds that covered the entire cloud valley. However, everything did not return to peace. The old strange phenomenon dispersed one after another, and a new phenomenon suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. That strange phenomenon was like a painting that spread across heaven and earth. The will of the heavens lingered on it. The content of the painting was that of an ancient immortal. It was an immortal whose body was completely condensed from rain. His eyes were like the heavens, and his body was emitting an immortal spiritual aura force that was as vast as the mountains and seas. When the sludge monster saw the content of the painting, he immediately exclaimed in surprise, "The immortal father of rain. This is the sovereign heavenly diagram. Brother Hero, you must be joking, right? You actually cultivated to the mid-realm of the rain palm position just by drinking a few mouthfuls of my bathwater. How is this possible? Don't tell me that my bathwater is a spiritual medicine used to cultivate to the sovereign realm." As soon as he finished speaking, the sludge monster also took a deep breath. Strange. I have also drunk the bathwater, but why can't I feel any increase in the power of the sovereign realm? You are thinking too much. Ning Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. He patted the sludge monster's head and stared at the gigantic painting between heaven and earth with a solemn expression. What do you mean by the immortal father of rain and the sovereign heavenly diagram? Brother Hero doesn't know these things? You know nothing about the sovereign realm, but you have already cultivated to the mid-realm of the sovereign realm? The sludge monster looked at Ning Fan as if he was looking at a monster. He even suspected that his bathwater had a magical effect that allowed Ning Fan to truly step into the sovereign realm by accident. Only by attaining the mid-realm of the sovereign realm could one be considered as a true sovereign immortal cultivator. I'm not too sure, but I'm not completely clueless about the sovereign realm. I more or less know a few methods to attain the sovereign realm. Tell me, what do you mean by all these? Ning Fan asked again. I don't really know much about Celestial Father and Tea on Tuesday. After all, I've never cultivated to the Palm realm. However, when I was in the true world, I heard people say that the sovereign heavenly diagram is both a fated chance and a predestined fate. Whether or not one can seize the fated chance depends on one's own strength. However, if one's strength is not enough, being overly obsessed might also lead to one's own destruction. When it's time to give up, you should give up. Don't fight for it, as you won't be able to win it anyway. Furthermore, not every cultivator who has cultivated to the sovereign heavenly diagram will be able to attract the sovereign heavenly diagram. Most of the sovereign cultivators do not have such an opportunity. I don't understand. Ning Fan decided that it was better not to ask the sludge monster about it. Why would he ask about the sludge monster when there was a ready-made sage around? Clear my doubts. Ning Fan used a commanding tone and said to the Ant Lord in his sea of consciousness. The Ant Lord could see his thoughts. He didn't need to explain to the Ant Master what he wanted to know. The Ant Master knew what he wanted to know. Humph! Little Ant Ning, what kind of tone is that? You dare to use such a tone to speak to a saint? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? Wait, please don't use your charm spell. If you want to clear my doubts, then so be it. Retract your charm spell. Initially, the Ant Lord still wanted to be stubborn. However, when she saw that Ning Fan was going to use his charm spell on her just because of a disagreement, she immediately gritted her teeth in anger. However, she no longer dared to act pretentiously anymore. Thus, she immediately explained everything to Ning Fan. In this world, there were many ways to cultivate to the sovereign heavenly diagram. However, only those who have attained the sovereign heavenly diagram through a perfect method could attract the sovereign heavenly diagram. The sovereign heavenly diagram was a gift from the heavens. The ancient immortals drawn on the sovereign heavenly diagram were usually the immortal fathers who were supposed to control the sovereign heavenly diagram in the immortal spirit era. Ning Fan relied on a perfect method to cultivate to the sovereign heavenly diagram instead of relying on other tricks. Thus, he attracted the sovereign heavenly diagram. The ancient immortal drawn on the sovereign heavenly diagram was the first rain immortal father who was born in the immortal spirit era. He was the ancestor of all rain immortal cultivators in the world. If there are no other changes, the immortal rain father in the painting would give Ning Fan 3 gifts as a reward for his efforts. These 3 gifts could be magic treasures, pills, Dao fruits, or even secret techniques that were related to the sovereign heavenly diagram. Anything could be given. The quality of the gift would depend on the individual's fortune. The only thing that could be confirmed was that even the worst gift could greatly improve the strength of a second-step cultivator. This was the fortune that the soft sludge monster mentioned. At the same time as the fortuitous opportunity, there was also danger. Every time the sovereign heavenly diagram appears, the cultivators of the same generation and the same sovereign heavenly diagram would be able to sense it. Those people could use the connection of the sovereign heavenly diagram to travel across regions and descend to snatch the immortal father's reward. If Ning Fan's strength was not strong enough and he could not protect his own reward, the other sovereign heavenly diagram cultivators could only benefit from it. So, the cultivators who have also attained the sovereign heavenly diagram are going to descend to snatch my reward soon? Ning Fan's expression immediately darkened. Not only the sovereign heavenly diagram cultivators but also the titled rain cultivators. The titled sovereign heavenly diagram cultivators are of the same origin. If the titled rain cultivators are willing, they can also descend to the sovereign heavenly diagram, but the difficulty will be slightly higher. Even the sovereign heavenly diagram cultivators who also possess the same element of water might have a chance to descend to the sovereign heavenly diagram. Of course, the difficulty will be higher. You should be glad that you did not attain the sovereign heavenly diagram in the true world. Do you know that every time a sovereign heavenly diagram appears in the true world, there will be hundreds or even thousands of cultivators who have the same origin coming to snatch the sovereign heavenly diagram? Even if the Immortal Father's reward descend to the sovereign heavenly diagram, it won't be given to the cultivators who have attained the sovereign heavenly diagram. Basically, it will be taken away by outsiders. Fortunately, the true world is separated from the illusory world. Thus, the sovereign heavenly diagram cultivators in the true world won't be able to sense your breakthrough. The number of people who will come to snatch your reward won't be as terrifying as hundreds or even thousands of them. It's already good enough if there are only 5 of them. The Ant Lord explained reluctantly. She really wanted to see Ning Fan being humiliated. She wanted to see Ning Fan being robbed by hundreds or even thousands of sovereign heavenly diagram cultivators from the true world. Unfortunately, Ning Fan, who was in the illusory world, was destined not to encounter such an unfortunate event. During the Age of Chaos, the number of cultivators with the title of Rain Palm and Rain Title could be counted on one's fingers. There might be some who came, but there definitely wouldn't be too many. Is it possible for titled rain cultivators to come as well? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He thought of someone. The Water Sect's sect master who had a grudge against him. The second stage quasi-saint who had obtained the title of Rain Master. If the other party really came, even if it was just a wisp of his divine sense, he definitely could not be underestimated. Would today be the first time he fought with that person? The place where the 4 great savage seas of northern sky converged. The Water School's sect master was at a critical juncture in condensing his 6th dragon. Logically speaking, nothing should be able to disturb him at such a critical juncture. However, right at this moment, a major event occurred that disturbed his mental state. It caused the condensation of the 6th dragon to be slightly flawed, and he had no choice but to temporarily stop. He opened his eyes in disbelief. Besides shock, there was also a trace of greed in his eyes. It's actually the sovereign heavenly diagram. The sovereign heavenly diagram recorded in the ancient records. I thought it was just a legend, but I didn't expect it to be true. But why didn't such a good thing happen to me when I obtained the title of Rain Cultivator in the past? What kind of rain cultivator is this? How could he have such luck to attract such a legendary phenomenon? I don't care who he is. No matter what, I want a share of the 3 rewards from this person's sovereign heavenly diagram. Immortal stones. Take good care of my physical body. I'm going to enter a state of hibernation and use the Rain Master's soul-splitting technique. This technique can't tolerate any mistakes since it comes from another domain. If you're careless, I won't forgive you. In the cold ice swamp country of Western Heaven. There was an ice mountain in the cold ice swamp country. An ancient giant Buddha was frozen inside the ice mountain. No one knew how long this giant Buddha had been sealed in ice. However, today, the ice mountain suddenly left. The giant Buddha walked out of the ice and opened his eyes. For a moment, heaven and earth were filled with Buddha light. Countless believers worshipped the giant Buddha. The heavenly diagram of rain? It doesn't seem to be in the Western Heaven. I wonder which realm's rain cultivator actually attracted this item. I don't want to be involved in the mortal world, but if this item appears, I might have to make a trip here. Although the 4 heavens are sealed, if I can use the guidance of the heavenly diagram that contains the power of the immortal realm, I might be able to use it to cross over. It's just that I'll have to pay a heavy price. In the ancient demon's lock, where the 3rd mountain was suppressed. Under the suppression peak, the Flood Emperor was barely breathing and begging for death. However, when he sensed the heavenly diagram of rain, he felt a trace of excitement. Chance. This is my chance to escape. The suppression of the palm of emotion is strong, but with the guidance of the heavenly diagram, I can leave for a short period of time. Although I can't really leave, it's still a chance. If I can get the treasure from this person's heavenly diagram, I might have a chance to break the third mountain and escape. I can't miss this chance. No matter who drew the heavenly diagram here, the reward from the heavenly diagram must belong to me. In the heavenly demon realm, the true martial clan. The territory of the true martial clan was built on a turtle-shaped continent. There were millions of demon cities and billions of demon cultivators. This continent was too big, and no one knew where it came from. However, something big happened in the true martial clan today. It was something that shocked the entire heavenly demon realm and even the spirit king of the demon race. The vast turtle-shaped continent suddenly came to life. With an arrogant and hoarse voice, it laughed towards the sky. Heavenly diagram. I want it. Chapter 12:17. Ning Fan had no idea how many people were eyeing him right now. To be honest, he was not really interested in the so-called reward of the heavenly diagram. Did he lack cultivation methods and abilities? Did he lack magic treasures? Not really. One should know that he had yet to learn all the powerful abilities that he had obtained from the heavenly diagram. Moreover, he had a bunch of magic treasures that he could not use. He did lack some pills and Dao fruits that could increase his cultivation base, but it was not a must for him. He did not value the reward of the heavenly diagram. However, it was not a reason for others to snatch his things. He was a disciple taught by the Old Devil sect. As the sect master of the Black Devil sect, he had always been the one who snatched other people's things. Since when did it become others' turn to snatch his things? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. He stared at the sovereign heavenly diagram above the cloud valley, waiting for what would happen next. The sovereign heavenly diagram in the sky became brighter and brighter. The contents of the diagram became richer and richer. Other than the immortal Rain Father, the mountain and river's pavilion began to appear. When the light reached its peak, Ning Fan suddenly felt an endless suction force that sucked him into the heavenly diagram. The strange thing was that the diagram only seemed to have an endless suction force on him. It did not affect outsiders like the sludge monster at all. Brother Hero! The sludge monster panicked. She did not know much about the sovereign heavenly diagram. How would she know what was going on? When she saw Ning Fan being sucked into the diagram, she thought that he was in danger. She did not care about her own safety and flew towards the diagram, wanting to enter it to save Ning Fan. However, how could she enter the diagram? Instead, the diagram's vast immortal spirit chi shook her body, almost shattering her mud body. She spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell from the sky. Big Brother Hero, don't let anything happen to you. It's all my fault. If I didn't take a bath here, you wouldn't have accidentally drunk my bathwater and broken through to the palm realm. The sludge monster was in tears. She did not understand what had happened. She only knew that she was severely injured when she tried to approach the sovereign heavenly diagram. As for Ning Fan, he was sucked into the diagram. If that was the case, wouldn't his injuries be even worse and he would be trapped in the diagram until his death? Obviously, she did not have the cultivation base to save Ning Fan. Judging from how easily she was injured by the diagram, even a great cultivator from the ancient times might not be able to do anything to it. Master! I have to look for Master. Master must have a way. The sludge monster didn't even bother to wipe the blood off his face. He hurriedly left the Cloud Valley to seek help from Omniscient Old Man. At first, when Omniscient Old Man heard that Ning Fan was in trouble, his eyes were filled with madness. How could he still care about the pile of immortal materials? However, after that, the sludge monster explained the reason why Ning Fan was sucked away by the sovereign heavenly diagram. Hearing this, Omniscient Old Man's madness disappeared, and he calmed down. He then stared at the sludge monster speechlessly. Fengzhe, oh Fengzhe, I told you to read more books, but you didn't listen. Your brother Hero is fine, he's doing great. If he was lucky, he could get 3 rewards for free. If he was unlucky, he would at most be robbed of some treasures, and his life would not be in any danger. All right, This old man still has business to attend to. Don't disturb me before I'm done with this waste. Go down. But master, the sludge monster wanted to say something, but its face suddenly hurt. It turned out that omniscient old man had thrown a tattered ancient book at her face. It was unknown how long this ancient book had existed. The book was stained with a lot of oil, vegetable juice, and dried rice grains. It seemed like someone had used it to fill the dishes. Go. Read this book properly. After you finish reading it, you won't have to worry about that brat anymore. After you finish reading it, when that brat comes out from the heavenly diagram, teach him to read it too. I'm really impressed by rogue cultivators like you. You don't even know a fart, but you still dare to cultivate to the sovereign heavenly diagram and pry into the origin of Tao. The sludge monster lowered its head and looked at the grease-stained book. She was in so much pain from being smashed. Through the greasy stains, she barely recognized the name of the book and was shocked. Tao Scripture. No, it can't be. Isn't Tao Scripture a supreme treasure that only fourth-step immortal emperors can master? How could Master have a Tao Scripture? How could he allow a little cultivator like her to read such a precious scripture? Master, please don't joke. Tao Scripture is an item of the fourth step. Without the permission of the person who wrote it, no one can read it. The Tao recorded in it can't be cultivated by others. It belongs to the person who wrote it. I don't know who the person who wrote it is, and I haven't gotten his permission. Even if I open this book, I'm afraid I'll only see a blank page. It's no different from reading a wordless heavenly scroll. The sludge monster only felt that the Tao Scripture in her hand was heavy and extremely hot. Don't worry. This isn't the real Tao Scripture. It's a fake Tao Scripture. The person who wrote it isn't a fourth-step immortal emperor. He's still one step away from breaking through. However, he's unwilling to take this step. Even if the main sect forces him to, he wouldn't do it. Even if his adopted son forces him to, he still wouldn't do it. So, this is actually a fake Tao Scripture. It's not as valuable as you think. It's also not a wordless heavenly scroll. Omniscient old man turned around. The sludge monster couldn't see his expression, but she could feel that his tone was sad and lonely. Fake Tao Scripture? What's that? I've never heard of such a thing. The sludge monster was confused. Omniscient old man remained silent. He did not explain to the sludge monster what the fake Tao Scripture was. Instead, he suddenly turned around with a blank expression. What's the fake Tao Scripture? The sludge monster was speechless. She knew that her master's illness was acting up again. She wouldn't be able to get any more information from him. She lowered her head and flipped through the fake Tao Scripture. Sure enough, it wasn't a wordless heavenly scroll. It wasn't a Tao Scripture that had reached the fourth step. There were no records of any divine abilities or cultivation methods in this book. It only recorded some scattered insights and theories about Tao. In the past, the sludge monster would have a headache whenever she reads a book. Now that she was reading this book, she naturally found it boring. Although it was boring, she still understood what Ning Fan was going through from the few words in the book. It turns out that the sovereign heavenly scroll won't endanger Brother Ying's life. I'm relieved now. The sludge monster heaved a sigh of relief and closed the fake Tao Scripture. Then she ran back to the Cloud Valley to wait for Ning Fan to come out of the scroll. As expected, she was still not interested in reading the book. I think it's better to let Brother Ying read it. A long time after the sludge monster left, omniscient old man suddenly put down the immortal materials in his hands. He raised his head and glanced at the direction of the Cloud Valley. Even though he said that he would not care about Ning Fan's heavenly scroll, deep down he was still a little worried. There shouldn't be anyone who can snatch something from that brat. However, if there's a mishap, if anyone dares to do anything to my junior brother, I'll pay him back 10,000 times. I'll let him die 10,000 times. Inside the sovereign heavenly scroll, there was a world that was formed by immortal qi. It was extremely lifelike. When Ning Fan was sucked into the heavenly scroll, he did not panic at all. It was because the Lord Ant was explaining to him in real time in his sea of consciousness. Thus, he knew that there was not much danger in this matter. The bestowal of the heavenly scroll was carried out inside the scroll. Unrelated people would not be able to enter it. Naturally, there was no way for them to interfere. Those who could come here to snatch Ningfan's reward could only be those who were related to the Rain Immortal Master. Inside the Heavenly Scroll world, there was a drizzle that never melted all year round. In the depths of the rain curtain, there was a towering statue of a giant immortal that had existed since ancient times. The Rain Immortal Father. That statue was not made of soil or metal. Instead, it was made of rainwater. The height of the statue was the same height as the height of the heavens and earth. The statue was shaped like an old man who was sitting cross-legged in meditation with his eyes tightly shut. However, when Ningfan was 3,000 zhang away from him, the statue suddenly let out a loud rumbling sound and opened its eyes. That pair of eyes were emotionless, devoid of spirit and intelligence. It was a pair of empty eyes without any signs of life. Obviously, the owner of the statue, the first Rain Immortal Father, had already fallen long ago. Only the statue of the rain was still in this world. Divine Spirit. Moreover, its Divine Father. But what is a Divine Spirit? The statue of the rain opened its mouth blankly, speaking in a language that even it did not understand. It was not the real Rain Immortal Father. The real Rain Immortal Father had already died in the long river of time. It had seen through Ningfan's identity as a divine spirit, but it could not remember what this identity represented. The Immortal Spirit Clan and the Divine Spirit Clan were like fire and water. If it knew that Ningfan was the #1 enemy of the Immortal Spirit Clan, it would certainly not give him a reward. Fortunately, it did not know. It was precisely because it did not know that the sovereign heavenly map descended and it appeared in this place. Even though it did not know, it still found Ningfan to be an eyesore after all. It was almost instinctive. At first, Ningfan was worried that something unexpected would happen after his identity was seen through. However, when he saw that the statue of the rain did not show much hostility other than revealing his identity in the beginning, he felt relieved for the time being and decided to wait and see. So, should I just do nothing and wait for it to give me a reward? Ningfan asked the Ant Lord in his Sea of Consciousness. The treasures bestowed by the sovereign heavenly map are divided into 100 grades. The first grade is the highest grade and the 100 grades are the lowest. There are also hundreds of different containers such as boxes, vases, chests, urns, cauldrons, pots and jars which are used to store different treasures. Different containers can store different types of treasures. With your innate potential, you might be able to get something that is above the 50th grade. However, even if you get a treasure of that grade, don't be in a hurry to open it later. The Ant Lord paused and gritted her teeth. Didn't you get a huge amount of merit points from me? You will be able to use it later. Damn it. If it wasn't because our minds are connected, why would I tell you how to use the merit points? The moment the Ant Lord mentioned the merit points, she became angry. If she knew that the merit points would eventually benefit Ningfan, she wouldn't have been so frugal in the first place. Just as Ningfan was about to ask why the merit points were used, a sudden change occurred. The statue of the rain statue suddenly chanted an ancient scripture. Then, its body shone brightly. After that, the rainwater in the world began to gather at Ningfan's location rapidly, forming 3 huge water balls. The 3 water balls spun in midair. As they spun, they condensed and eventually turned into different forms. At the same time, the rain statue disappeared. Take care. Those were the last words the statue of the rain statue said before it disappeared. There seemed to be a hint of sarcasm in its words. Ningfan knitted his brows and looked at the 3 rewards. All 3 of them were marked with introductory words. The first water ball became the cursed wooden chest. The treasure grade was 98. The second water ball became the paper bag that fell into the latrine pit. The treasure grade was 96. The third water ball became the paper bag that fell into the latrine pit. The treasure grade was 96. The wooden chest, the paper bag and the pot of urea were not the rewards. It was the things inside that were the rewards. However, the treasure's grades were so low. The things inside were obviously not good. No, even without looking at the grade of the treasures, Ning Fan knew that these rewards were not good. Nonsense. A curse, a latrine pit, and a pot of urea. Even an idiot would know that these rewards were trash. Haha. The Ant Lord burst into laughter. Why was he laughing? Of course, it was to gloat. The Ant Lord had lived for a long time. She had seen many people being rewarded by the heavenly map. However, no matter how low the rewards were, it would not be as low as Ning Fan's. The rewards that Ning Fan received were definitely not normal. No, it was not appropriate to describe it as abnormal. How was this abnormal? It was obviously a joke. How much did the rain statue left behind by the immortal Rain Father hate Ning Fan for it to bestow such a lowly reward upon him? A cursed wooden chest? One should know that in the rewards given by the heavenly map, the wooden chests were usually filled with various kinds of immortal materials. Could this chest contain materials that were used to forge cursed weapons? The kind that was used to forge demon blades and demon swords? The kind that would devour the host? Or the kind that would harm the host 10 times for each slash? This is really interesting. A paper bag that fell into a latrine pit? Just by listening to it, I can already imagine the scene. The blueprints inside the bag were probably already stained to the brim. I wonder if little Ant Ning's hands would feel sticky when he takes out these blueprints. Speaking of which, what is this thing made from the blueprint? Could it be the blueprint of a gong tub? I can't be sure. After all, I picked it up from a latrine pit. The funniest thing was, there was actually a pot of urea. Could it really be a pot of urea? Even if it contained the urea of a 4th step immortal sovereign, it was still not worth much. Speaking of which, what was the use of urea? Could it be that it could be drunk? It seems like it could really be drunk. Isn't the virgin urea a great tonic? If there really is a 4th step virgin urea in this world, it would probably be incomparably nourishing. Little Ant Ning has made a profit. Little Ant Ning has made a huge profit. I'm guessing that even though that rain statue doesn't remember what it means to be a deity, it still instinctively dislikes you. That's why it gave you such a reward. So it turns out that I'm not the only one who dislikes you. There are actually other like-minded people. The Lord Ant said with a gloating tone. Don't be angry. If you get angry, my heart will ache. No. Actually, the angrier you are, the happier I am. I'm not angry. Our minds are connected. I have already seen one of the uses of merit from your heart. Since that's the case, why should I be angry? It was absolutely impossible for Ning Fan to not be speechless after obtaining 3 trashy rewards. Fortunately, his mind was connected with the Lord Ant. Even if the Lord Ant did not finish her words, he already understood what the Lord Ant meant by using the merit. The reward of the heavenly map was not something that you had to take whatever the others gave you. It was true for ordinary people. However, there was a group of people who could cheat. What could they use to cheat? To take the merit points of a saint. The cultivators of the true world enforced justice on behalf of heaven. They would be bestowed with merit points. There were countless uses of merit points. It was almost omnipotent. It could even forcefully raise the grade of the treasures rewarded by the heavenly map. There was no other way. Merit points represented special privileges. It could even forcefully raise a person who did not have the potential to become a saint of virtue. It was just that domineering. It was just that special privileges. It was just that they could do whatever they wanted. Damn it. If you have the ability, don't use my merit points to cheat. If you have the ability, take the urea pot that the rain statue gave you home and worship it. The Lord Ant said with hatred. If I can cheat, why wouldn't I? Even though I'm not interested in the reward of the heavenly map, I dislike you taking pleasure in my misfortune even more. Sure enough, when you heard that I'm going to spend your merit points recklessly, you became depressed. We are very similar. Both of us are vile people who take pleasure in other people's misfortune. When I'm unlucky, you'll be happy. When you're angry, I'm actually quite happy too. Ning Fan said with a smile. Don't be too happy. Even if you use my merit points to forcefully increase the grade of the treasure rewarded by the heavenly map, it will only benefit others. Don't forget that there will be others who will come to snatch your treasure later. You might not even be able to protect your treasure. Why waste your merit points? The Lord Ant said angrily. Whether I want to use my merit points or not is none of your business. Ning Fan blocked off the Lord Ant's scolding. Then he took out the heaven-opening jade book and performed a hand seal on it. All of a sudden, a ray of golden light shot up into the sky from the jade book. Then, it turned into 10,000 specks of light sand and sprinkled on the wooden chest. His original 11,800 Saint Merit points were immediately reduced by 1 point. As the golden light dispersed, the curse on the wooden chest gradually disappeared. At the same time, the quality of the wooden chest also began to change. The grade of the treasure in the wooden chest had increased. The cursed wooden chest turned into a broken fine iron chest. The grade of the treasure had risen to the 97th grade. After opening it, one could obtain an entire chest of low-grade fine iron. Alright, fine iron was just an immortal material used to forge low-grade magic treasures. It was useless to Ning Fan. Then he would just raise its grade. Once again he used 1 point of Saint Merit points. The broken fine iron chest turned into a damaged mithril chest. The grade of the treasure was 96th grade. Rise again. An old gung gold chest. 95th grade. Rise again. An ordinary immortal jade chest. Rise again. A dim Dao crystal chest. Rise again. A dazzling bright sunstone chest. Rise again. Rise again. Rise again. In the beginning, it only required 1 point of Saint Merit points to upgrade the grade of the treasure chest. However, when the grade of the treasure rose to the 70th grade, it would require 2 points of Saint Merit points to upgrade it again. After the 60th grade, it would require 5 points of Saint Merit points to upgrade it. After the 50th grade, it would require 10 points. After the 40th grade, it would require 20 points. After the 30th grade, it would require 50 points. After the 20th grade, it would require 100 points. After the 10th grade, it would require 2,000 points of Saint Merit points to upgrade the grade of the treasure. After spending nearly 2,000 points of Saint Merit points, Ning Fan only managed to upgrade the first treasure to the 10th grade. It would be too expensive to upgrade it again. Ning Fan did not plan to spend all of his Saint Merit points. God knows if there would be another situation like this in the future where he would need Saint Merit points to exercise his special privileges. Speaking of which, where was the cursed wooden chest in front of him? Only the heavenly Dao box of immeasurable fortune was left. Ning Fan used the same method and spent another 2,000 points of Saint Merit points to upgrade the map bag that fell into the latrine pit to the 10th grade, the map bag of superlative workmanship. After spending another 2,000 points of Saint Merit points, the stinky urea pot was upgraded to the jade wine pot of the rain giant. There were still more than 5,800 points of Saint Merit points left in the heaven-opening jade book. Since Ning Fan did not have any concept of Saint Merit points, he was very generous and did not feel any heartache. Even if he kept some of the Saint Merit points, it was just for the occasional need in the future. It was not because he was reluctant to use it. Ning Fan was very satisfied with the result of the upgrade. Originally, he was not interested in the reward of the heavenly map. But now, he was a little interested. The heavenly Dao box seemed to contain some kind of immortal material. It actually emitted a little high-grade innate chi. Could it be a material used to forge high-grade innate magical treasures? Inside the map bag, there was monstrous demonic chi circulating. The reason was unknown and he did not know what kind of map it contained. Ning Fan did not know what kind of powerful wine was contained in the jade wine pot. Just a trace of wine fragrance wafted out and it made Ning Fan's Rain Sovereign Realm improve a little. It was actually some kind of immortal wine that could increase the power of the Rain Sovereign Realm. Putting aside the materials and the map, Ning Fan was determined to get the immortal wine. To him who had just broken through to the middle realm of the Rain Sovereign Realm, it would be extremely beneficial. Ning Fan tried to open the heavenly Dao box, the map bag and the jade wine pot, but he realized that it was extremely difficult to open them. It turned out that the higher the grade of the treasure box, the stronger the restrictions on it. It was not an easy task to open them in a short period of time. Even with Ning Fan's cultivation base, he still needed a long time to open them. Ning Fan tried again, wanting to keep the 3 items into his storage pouch. However, he realized that he could not do it. It was as if he could not keep the treasures before the enemy arrived. Only after the enemy arrived would the sovereign heavenly map allow him to keep the treasures. Sure enough, I can only wait for the enemy to arrive. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a wooden light. Then, he sat down cross-legged on the ground as if nothing had happened, protecting the 3 treasures. After waiting for an unknown period of time, the world of the sovereign heavenly map suddenly rippled. Then, the formation marks of the descent ceremony emerged continuously and spread across heaven and earth. At the moment when the formation marks were completely completed, an ear-piercing dragon roar resounded across heaven and earth. A gigantic dragon that was condensed from green rainwater broke through the formation light and charged towards Ning Fan. This rain dragon was too massive. It was holding a green dragon pearl in its mouth. That dragon pearl alone was already as large as an emperor-grade cultivation planet, let alone the entire body of the dragon. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn. This rain dragon gave him a tremendous pressure. However, the source of the pressure was not from the body of the rain dragon but from the top of its head. There was an elderly man standing there with a faint smile on his face. His eyes were half closed. The elderly man's body was illusory. He was also condensed from the rain. His entire body had already become one with the rain. Based on this point alone, Ning Fan's current cultivation base was obviously far inferior to the elderly man. I wonder which fellow Taoist has drawn the sovereign heavenly map to me. I am true monarch North Sea. I have specially come to this world to congratulate fellow Taoist for ascending to the sovereign realm. Although the old man's words were polite, his eyes were not polite at all. There was a hidden iciness in them. It was obvious that he had come with ill intentions and was not here to congratulate. Perfected Lord Beihai had descended following the guidance of the heavenly map, and the process of his descent was similar to a point-to-point teleportation. He wasn't sure where he had been teleported to, but he had the vague feeling that he was still in the northern heaven, not some other plane. In other words, the old monster who cultivated the rain palm and drew down the sovereign heavenly diagram is a cultivator from the northern sky, just like me? Strange, I've never heard of any eccentrics in the lands of the northern heaven who cultivate rain like me. The Fish Lord's Tao is related to rain, but although he is strong, he has not been able to grasp the position for some reason. The person who cultivated the position of rain shouldn't be him, but who could it be? True Lord Beihai arrived on the dragon. He stood on the dragon's head and looked down slowly. He wanted to see who had done it. If he hadn't seen it, he wouldn't have known, but the moment he saw it, he was shocked. How could it be you? This was impossible. When you defeated the immortal stone, you were clearly not in the rain palm position, but now you have. How long has it been? It turned out that this so-called perfected Lord Beihai was actually the sect master of the water sect. So, fellow Taoist is called perfected Lord Beihai? I thought it would be more appropriate to call you the sect master of the water sect. Even though it was his first time meeting the sect master of the water sect, he could still recognize him with the slight reaction from the heaven-battling jade umbrella he was carrying. You can call me sect master or Beihai. It's just an empty title. You can call me whatever you want. On the other hand, I'm very curious whether I should call you fellow Taoist Ning Fan or fellow Taoist Zhao Jian, an ancient great cultivator. What a benevolent and righteous Zhao Jian. Everyone in the world thinks that you are an ancient great cultivator, but I know that you are just a mere immortal king realm cultivator. I know that you have some capabilities. Initially, I didn't want to fight you on the eve of the grand competition. However, since we've met each other this time, I can only fight you. True Lord Beihai's spirit sense scanned the heavenly Tao box and the paper pouch below him. He did not know what was inside them, so they did not arouse his interest. However, when his spirit sense scanned the jade wine pot, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. This is actually an immortal wine that can improve the sovereign realm of rain. Even though he was a titled realm cultivator and not a sovereign realm cultivator, he had already come into contact with a trace of the origin of Tao Law when he reached his level. He could use the power of the origin of Tao Law. As long as they have the same origin, this item could greatly improve the power of his titled realm of rain. He was determined to get this item. As for the other two items, he did not really care about them. It would be great if he could snatch them, but it would be fine if he could not. Ning Fan did not know, but he knew that he was not the only water element old monster who would be moved by the sovereign heavenly map in the entire illusionary world. Those people might also come. He could ignore a single Ning Fan. However, if those people also come, he would have to make a choice. Otherwise, he would not even have the confidence to get his hands on the jade wine pot. Fortunately, I'm in the northern heaven and I'm the closest to Ning Fan. That's why I'm the first to arrive. I can snatch the jade wine pot before the others arrive. No matter how bold this Ning Fan is, he won't dare to go against me openly. True Lord Beihai did not plan to waste any more time. With a thought in his mind, he directly rode on the giant rain dragon and crashed towards the ground where Ning Fan was standing. The power of the collision was like an imperial-grade starfield falling on the ground. The rain intent was like Daozi, making Ning Fan's face hurt. Ning Fan was inwardly shocked by the scene. He initially thought that after he broke through to the sovereign realm, the difference between his rain intent and true Lord Beihai's would not be too big. However, he did not expect that his opponent's rain intent was actually this strong. It was at least 30% stronger than him. Unfortunately, his opponent's attack with rain was precisely countered by one of his treasures. Even though your rain intent is strong, I have the umbrella that you dream of. If you want to snatch my item, just this bit of rain intent is not enough. Bang! As soon as Ning Fan's voice fell, the rain dragon crashed into the ground. The entire world of the heavenly map shook violently. The ground gave out a loud rumble and shattered into countless pieces. True Lord Beihai's eyes narrowed slightly. He did not believe that Ning Fan would be hurt by this bit of rain intent. After all, Ning Fan had the supreme treasure of rain cultivators that he dreamed of getting back. As expected, in the middle of the broken land, Ning Fan was holding a green jade umbrella. He was completely unscathed as he blocked all the falling rain. Not a single drop of rain could get close to him. Behind him were three treasures that were also unscathed. Roar! The rain dragon let out a furious roar. The rainwater in the universe immediately turned into immortal rain swords and shot towards Ning Fan. However, none of the rain swords could hurt the corner of Ning Fan's clothes. Rain was still rain. Even if it turned into swords, it was still rain. In the end, it would still be blocked by the umbrella. The umbrella was the superior of rain. It was an absolute restraint. I didn't expect you to have such a high level of rapport with your magic treasures even though you have just obtained the heaven-battling jade umbrella not long ago. You've actually become one with the umbrella. Unfortunately, you don't know that this heaven-battling jade umbrella has been an item of my water sect for generations. Don't you think it's too arrogant of you to fight me with the item of my water sect? Rain technique, umbrella sealing order. As true monarch Beihai let out a cold laugh, something strange happened. At this moment, countless rain patterns suddenly appeared on the surface of the heaven-battling jade umbrella. Those patterns were formed by raindrops when Ning Fan used the umbrella to block the rain. Be it the ramming rain dragons or the immortal rain swords, they were all feints. True Lord Beihai's real purpose was to make those rain patterns land on the umbrella. Heaven-battling jade umbrella, come back now. As true Lord Beihai gave an order, the heaven-battling jade umbrella immediately broke free from Ning Fan's hand and flew back to him. This person actually forcefully seized the control of the jade umbrella from Ning Fan's hands with the umbrella sealing order. Ning Fan's expression changed. He looked rather shocked as if he did not expect true Lord Beihai to have such an ability. Seeing Ning Fan's astonished expression, true Lord Beihai faintly felt that something was wrong. He was also good at sensing things. He kept feeling that Ning Fan's surprised expression was a little fake and it was not sincere. Could it be? True Lord Beihai glanced at the heaven-battling jade umbrella that flew back to him as ordered. All of a sudden, he understood something. His eyes were filled with shock and coldness. The heaven-battling jade umbrella had clearly flown to his front, but he did not use his hand to catch it. Instead, he made a sudden move. With a flick of his finger, several rain slashes flew out from his fingertips and bombarded the heaven-battling jade umbrella. At the moment he made his move, the heaven-battling jade umbrella also shone with a ferocious light. The umbrella sealing order on its surface shattered the rain patterns with a bang. Then, countless raindrops that turned into fine needles flew out from the umbrella and pierced towards true Lord Beihai. If true Lord Beihai were to be careless for even a moment, he would be pierced by these rain needles. Although the power of these rain needles did not seem strong, they were imbued with a trace of palm-rank poison. If he is really pierced by them, he would certainly suffer. Fortunately, he did not have any carelessness. Be it the rain needles or the jade umbrella, all of them were repelled by his slashes. The spiritual light of the jade umbrella dimmed a little and it flew back to Ning Fan. Obviously, the power of the rain slashes that true Lord Beihai casually threw out was not weak. It could even slightly damage a mid-grade innate magic treasure. If this person goes all out, how powerful would he be? It seems like I have underestimated you in the past. It's my first time meeting someone who can make the umbrella sealing order lose its effectiveness. I really don't know what kind of demonic technique you used on this umbrella to make it so obedient that it even dares to disobey the orders of my water sect. True Lord Beihai said coldly. This time, he was really infuriated. He had long known that the heaven-battling jade umbrella was in Ning Fan's hands. However, he was not in a hurry to get it back because he was confident that with the umbrella's sealing order, he could retrieve it whenever he wanted. However, reality gave him a hard slap in the face. Ning Fan actually used some unknown method to make the umbrella's sealing order lose its effectiveness. Now, other than killing Ning Fan for real, he could not think of any other method to perfectly retrieve the heaven-battling jade umbrella. Ning Fan could kill a quasi-saint realm expert. If it's not necessary, he would not be bothered to provoke another enemy. However, if it's for the sake of the heaven-battling jade umbrella, he really wanted to kill Ning Fan this time. Ning Fan remained silent, turning a deaf ear to true Lord Beihai's exclamation. Inwardly, however, he was secretly feeling pity. True Lord Beihai actually saw through such a good opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Isn't this old man a little too cautious? Could it be that he is born in the year of the rabbit? Compared to his cautiousness, his strength was still acceptable to Ning Fan. After all, true Lord Beihai did not come with his true body. It was just a trace of his divine sense. His strength was only about 1/5 of his true body, which was equivalent to a mid-upper level first-level quasi-saint realm expert. Ning Fan was confident that he could win against him after a hard battle. However, the problem was that true Lord Beihai might not be the only one who came. If there are other experts at the same level as true Lord Beihai, things would be troublesome. Both of them wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. Just as they were about to continue fighting, they suddenly stopped. They had no choice but to stop because more people were coming. If they continue to fight now, wouldn't they be the fisherman who benefits from it? At this moment, the rain in the world of the heavenly diagrams suddenly condensed into snowflakes. Amidst the swirling snowflakes, a golden shadow appeared in a flash and turned into a giant Buddha, standing between heaven and earth. That giant Buddha also came with his divine sense. His divine sense was not any weaker than true Lord Beihai's. Amitabha. The heavenly diagram's reward is given to those who are fated to get it. The fated ones haven't arrived yet, and you two are already fighting each other. Aren't you a little too hasty? The first one to arrive is actually fellow Taoist Beihai? Could it be that the one who drew the heavenly diagram here is a cultivator from the northern heaven? Otherwise, the first one to arrive should be fellow Taoist Jin Wu, who is the strongest among the water cultivators in the dream realm. The giant Buddha chanted the name of Buddha and said with a compassionate expression. However, he himself probably did not believe that he was truly compassionate. If he really was compassionate, why would he bother to get involved in this mess and increase his negative karma? 8 Frigid Hell Buddha. True Lord Beihai's expression immediately turned unpleasant when he saw who it was. Theoretically, the strength of the 8 frigid hell Buddha was almost on par with him. However, this Buddha was not a Buddhist title but an ice palm position. Using rain to fight ice, the result would be the rain turning into snow in this world. True Lord Beihai knew very well that unless his title of rain was far stronger than the other party's ice palm position, he would definitely be at a disadvantage if he fought against him. Rain, snow, ice. True Lord Beihai was not the only one who came. Ning Fan was already mentally prepared for this. Thus, he was not too surprised. What moved him was this person's Tao of ice and snow. At this moment, Ning Fan seemed to have seen another reincarnation of rain, another kind of fate. Rain and cloud can be the source of each other. Rain, ice, and snow seem to be the same as well. The 3 states of water are ice, water, and cloud chi, aren't they? Originally, Ning Fan thought that he had seen the path to grand completion of the rain palm position, and he thought that he had understood the rain. However, at this moment, he realized that he did not really understand the rain. What he knew was just superficial knowledge. The end of the superficial knowledge was the true source of the rain. Starting from that source, the rain could have countless lives. It did not have to turn into clouds and fall into the sea. Oh? Is this fellow Taoist the one who drew the heavenly diagram down? You look a little unfamiliar. The 8 frigid hell Buddha was looking at Ning Fan below, and his expression suddenly changed. There's actually an uninvited guest here. Both he and True Lord Beihai were surprised. Obviously, the person who came next was not part of their plan. I've escaped. A trace of my primordial spirit has actually escaped. Ha! Young master of emotions, you've miscalculated. Your 3rd mountain can't crush me to death after all. Unfortunately, this trace of my primordial spirit can't come out for too long. This is my only chance to escape with the help of the heavenly diagram. There's not much time left. Seems like I have to end this battle as soon as possible. It was an elderly man with a red face. Ning Fan recognized whose primordial spirit he was the moment he saw him. He was actually the primordial spirit of the drowning great emperor. When he kept the drowning realm bottle, he had seen a trace of the drowning great emperor's primordial spirit that was hidden inside. He remembered that the primordial spirit of the drowning great emperor claimed to be the 11th ranked primordial spirit of the drowning great emperor. Its cultivation base was only at the peak immortal king realm. However, the primordial spirit of the drowning great emperor was different. It was much stronger than the primordial spirit of the drowning great emperor in the past. Its cultivation base was at the half-saint realm. Of course, compared to True Lord Beihai and the 8 Arctic Hell Buddha, the primordial spirit of the drowning realm half-saint realm did not seem to be a threat. However, that was just on the surface. Somehow, the sense of danger that the drowning great emperor gave Ning Fan was even stronger than the two of them. It was really strange. Why does this young man have the chi of the drowning realm bottle? Could it be? Could it be? The drowning great emperor saw Ning Fan at first glance. His face was filled with surprise and joy. The heavens are helping me. I didn't expect that I would not only obtain 3 treasures in this trip but also find the drowning realm bottle. With this bottle in hand, the day when I break through the suppression of the 3rd mountain is just around the corner. Ha! The drowning realm bottle? Oh, the drowning realm bottle. Why aren't you returning to your position after seeing your master? The drowning great emperor was overjoyed. He performed a hand seal and was about to forcefully recall the drowning realm bottle. However, the result made him feel awkward. The drowning realm bottle did not respond. The drowning realm bottle had betrayed its real master and only recognized Ning Fan as its master. This is really interesting. What kind of demonic technique did you use on my bottle to make it insist on betraying its master? As soon as the drowning great emperor arrived, he had already tasted the shock that true sovereign North Sea felt earlier. Thus he asked coldly. Ning Fan, of course, would not be foolish enough to reveal the truth and tell the drowning great emperor that he had obtained the drowning realm bottle's loyalty through chatting with him. His expression turned slightly unpleasant. Even though he was already mentally prepared for the arrival of many enemies, He still felt unprecedentedly serious when he was really surrounded by 3 powerful enemies. If he were to fight one of the 3 clones alone, he would have a high chance of winning. However, if he were to fight 1 against 2, it would be difficult. If he were to fight 1 against 3, it would be a problem for him to even protect himself. Moreover, judging from the tone of the 8 frigid Hell Buddha, the strongest expert of the water element in the illusionary world had obviously not arrived yet. If that person comes again, it would not be easy for him to protect the 3 treasures this time. He might have to use some of his trump cards. It's actually the drowning Great Emperor who has come personally. We juniors are really lucky to have the chance to witness the glory of an ancient Great Emperor. Fellow Taoist Ba Cold, how about we stop fighting for now? I know you are not interested in that jade wine pot. What you are interested in are the other 2 items. Let's work together and get rid of the others before fellow Taoist Gen Wu arrives. After that, we will divide all the treasures. Isn't that a wonderful thing? True Sovereign North Sea actually suggested to work together. However, his target was not the drowning Great Emperor. Obviously, he looked down on the half-saint realm cultivation base of the drowning Great Emperor's clone. That's great. The 8 frigid Hell Buddha agreed. Similarly, he did not mention the drowning Great Emperor at all. It was obvious that he also excluded the drowning Great Emperor from the bottom of his heart. He had no choice. He was an ancient Buddha while the drowning Great Emperor was an ancient devil ancestor. Buddha and devil had always been enemies since ancient times. How could they work together? Work together? Ha! Only the weak will gather together. I prefer to travel thousands of li alone. Not to mention that there are only you juniors here. I have nothing to be afraid of even if there are thousands of troops in front of me. The drowning Great Emperor did not bother to talk nonsense with true monarch Beihai and the 8 frigid Buddha at all. He suddenly put his palms together and the entire world of the heavenly painting was instantly drowned by the monstrous waves. This person is clearly just a half-step sage realm cultivator. Why is it that a casual attack of his is so powerful? This doesn't make sense. True monarch Beihai and the 8 frigid Buddha's expressions changed. They knew that they had underestimated the true strength of the drowning Great Emperor. They had really underestimated the strength of an ancient Great Emperor by using the cultivation base of the Dharma ending era as the standard. The drowning spirit clone is actually able to use the drowning realm technique, which is not any weaker than the drowning vase. If my true self comes here and kills people with the drowning vase, wouldn't it be even more terrifying? Ning Fan's eyes became even more solemn. He no longer cared about the fact that the drowning vase had yet to be repaired. At once, he took out the drowning vase and absorbed all the waves within 1,000 zhang around him, preventing any of them from getting close to him. The drowning vase constantly let out a sorrowful wail. Obviously, it was extremely difficult for it to face such a powerful water attack head-on since it had yet to be repaired. Its spiritual light became dimmer and dimmer. Upon seeing this, Ning Fan felt guilty. His opponent was clearly just a vase. However, after going through a few life and death situations, he still could not bear to let this vase worsen his injuries. After the incident with the god-exterminating shield, deep in his heart, he had already unconsciously regarded this vase as a companion who would share life and death with him. Thus, he naturally could not bear to hurt it. Seeing that the drowning vase was on the verge of being destroyed, Ning Fan had no choice but to put it away again. As a result, the surrounding waves immediately rushed towards him again. The drowning Great Emperor even used the water escape technique to ignore the impact of the waves and dash towards Ning Fan. The drowning Great Emperor's body was emitting demonic blood steam. It was the blood steam of the first stage of ancestral atavism. "Give it to me, otherwise die," the drowning Great Emperor said arrogantly. He did not put Ning Fan in his eyes at all. Did he know who Ning Fan was? Why would he care who Ning Fan was? Which one of the devil ancestors who came from the devil conferral peak was not arrogant? He had the ancestral atavism in his hands. If anyone provokes him, he would completely return to his ancestral atavism and kill all the juniors in front of him. In the past, even Zhang Qing could not kill him. These juniors in front of him were nothing. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with pity. In the past few years, he had relied on the drowning great emperor's vase to save his life several times. As the saying went, when drinking water, one should remember its source. It was not that he did not have any gratitude towards the drowning great emperor. However, all of this gratitude was erased the moment the drowning great emperor unleashed his killing intent towards him. The one who helped him was the drowning vase and not the drowning great emperor. He could treat the drowning great emperor as his comrade, but he really could not have any good feelings towards the drowning great emperor. Since he was an enemy, he would not show any mercy. Boom! Under the deep sea, amidst the turbulent undercurrents, Ning Fan summoned the ocean-defying sword and slashed at the drowning great emperor, forcing him to retreat. Could this sword be? The drowning great emperor stabilized his body and vaguely recognized the ocean-defying sword. At once, he was enraged. How could he not be enraged? Even if he used his toes to think, he would know how Ning Fan created the ocean-defying sword. He must have used the eternal, inextinguishable rain in his vase. Those were his things. All of them were his things. However, Ning Fan had taken advantage of them in the end. His killing intent towards Ning Fan instantly skyrocketed by 10 times, 100 times. In the deep sea, there was also a pair of eyes that noticed the chi of the ocean-defying sword. It was the 8 frigid Hell Buddha. At first, he was still hostile towards Ning Fan. However, the moment the sword appeared, he actually felt a sense of protection towards Ning Fan. Because it was the sword of a high-grade disciple of the Chaotic Kuan sacred sect. The Chaotic Kuan sacred sect was the ancestor of all Buddhist cultivators in the world. It was the holy land in the hearts of all Buddhist cultivators. The person who wields this sword is no different from the true Buddha in the hearts of true Buddhist cultivators. As for the 8 frigid Hell Buddha, even though he was not a kind person, he had always claimed to be an orthodox Buddhist cultivator. How could an orthodox Buddhist cultivator allow their Buddha to be harmed by others? He, the 8 frigid Hell Buddha, would not dare to snatch the treasures of the Buddha today. If this matter is spread out, how would he continue to live in the Western heaven? His goal had changed. Today, he wanted to protect the Buddha here. As a result, when the Great Water Emperor charged at Ning Fan again, the 8 frigid Hell Buddha suddenly stood in front of Ning Fan, making him feel puzzled. "Oh my Buddha! This disciple was late. Please forgive me, Buddha." As soon as he finished speaking, the 8 frigid Hell Buddha replaced Ning Fan and fought against the Great Water Emperor. True monarch North Sea was speechless. He was extremely speechless. Even though he already knew that the temporary alliance of the cultivation world was not trustworthy, he did not expect that the 8 frigid Hell Buddha would betray him in a split second and join forces with Ning Fan. Ning Fan was speechless. Ning Fan only felt puzzled. He who was connected to all living beings could clearly sense the kindness and malice of others. What the hell? Just a moment ago, the 8 frigid Hell Buddha did not hide his hostility towards him at all. Why did he suddenly change his mind and become incomparably respectful towards him? Moreover, why did he address him as Buddha? I'm the same as the Great Water Emperor. We're both ancient devils. I don't think they have anything to do with the Buddha. Isn't this misunderstanding a little too subtle? Just as the 8 frigid Hell Buddha and the Great Water Emperor were engaged in a fierce battle, the seawater that the Great Water Emperor summoned suddenly began to decrease rapidly, as if it was being devoured by some living creature. In just a few breaths' time, the seawater that flooded the entire world was drunk by that gigantic creature. Burp a tortoise that was 10 times larger than the rain dragon let out a burp that was even louder than the void storm. The stench that it exhaled directly blew the Great Water Emperor and the 8 frigid Hell Buddha several 100,000 zhang away. You guys fight slowly. I won't disturb you nor will I snatch your things. I've just drunk enough water. Now, I'm going to eat the heavenly map. I'll make this clear first. I don't care how you guys mess around. However, if you snatch my heavenly map and eat it, I'll eat all of you. The current Great Emperor Zhen Wu had arrived. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.